When is this his end? The man murmurs softly, his chest pierced by a sword. No flinching, he simply gazes calmly at the woman standing before him. Your heart is wavering, he tells her. She missed his vitals by 3 millimeters. With her poor swordsmanship, failing to land a clean kill is an absolute disgrace. Enough, please stop, the woman chokes out, desperately cutting off his words. Seeking vengeance has brought her no joy, only a pale, twisted mask of sorrow. How much longer do you intend to lie? Why did you kill my family? Why did you adopt me as your disciple and teach me everything after that? Was this just some sick game? Did you enjoy playing with my feelings? You clearly knew how much I loved you, she cries out. This was simply the choice of fate, he answers, smiling through his pain. I am only doing what I must do, he says, facing death calmly. Outside, rain falls softly from the night sky, drenching the silent world. His consciousness slowly drifts away. Suddenly, he sits up on his own bed. Completely devoid of hope, he stares blankly at the ceiling of his room. It has been 18 long years since he arrived in this high martial world. And today was finally the day. The legendary awakening ceremony was finally here. But reality hit him hard. He only awakened a totally average C-rank talent. Neither a useless F-rank, nor the invincible, overpowered S-rank talent he wanted. His guaranteed spot at the elite Imperial Capital University instantly became highly uncertain. Meanwhile, the class bully easily awakened an S-rank talent during the ceremony. The university recruited him right on the spot, showering him with praises. Talk about brutal, he has instantly become the laughingstock of the entire school. Mocked by teachers and classmates alike, he has no idea what to do. Then details of his talent appear in his mind. Life is like a play. Put on a hypocritical mask, perform through imitation, hide your hollow heart. In this world, there is no rule saying a fake cannot beat the real. A partner of justice, he has absolutely no idea what use this has. Massaging his forehead helplessly, he keeps staring intently at the white talent entry. Suddenly, he notices something else. A weird, semi-transparent double image appears. A voice rings inside his head, speaking of preventing total world destruction. To protect world peace, to carry out the sweet evil of love and truth. Welcome to the lovely and charming villainous character system, the voice says. His eyes widen. The system actually replies with a proud meow. It congratulates him on awakening a system that does not exist in this world. Now he can travel through myriad worlds and possess various villainous characters. Living their lives allows him to obtain their unique, powerful talents. Best of all, his very first performance will require 0 destiny points. The system immediately starts searching for a suitable, derailing target world. Wait a minute, what does that mean? He asks, thoroughly confused. Before he can get answers, his consciousness is violently ripped from his body. Dropping into the torrent of fate, he suddenly snaps his eyes wide open. He finds himself lying in a massive, elegant, and highly luxurious bedroom. Even his voice has completely transformed, sounding incredibly mature and steady now. The system notifies him of his new identity, Chief Professor Road. The objectives are clear. 1. Reach perfection in all courses. 2. Admit the Destiny heroine Luna and train her into a true talent. 3. Die at the hands of the Destiny heroine Luna. The reward, randomly obtain one of Professor Road's talents depending on the mission evaluation. Suddenly, memory fragments flood in. Road is the sole heir of a declining family, spending his life striving to revitalize it, but with limited talent and crushed by pressure, he strayed onto an evil path, climbing step by step to chief professor of the Imperial Academy. By stepping over countless competitors, according to the established future, all of this sets the stage for his downfall. His blood-stained crimes are revealed, his hypocritical dark nature exposed, and he pays with his life. The man he has become is at the critical turning point between glory and decline, and his job is to act out the final chapters leading toward death. He gets out of bed and approaches the mirror, reflecting a man. 70 or 80% similar to his old self. Glancing down, he spots a wrinkle on his pajamas. Frowning, he quickly smooths it, not his own personality, but Professor Rhodes' almost pathological obsessive-compulsive disorder. Truly interesting. His face remains passive, but the corners of his mouth and mind curl up. Whether it is the absorbed memory fragments or the feeling that life is like a play, he has already assumed the role, fully adapting to Rhodes' identity. Fated death, is it? Then he will perform a dance of death as his perfect finale. Scenes of the destined future flash through his mind. It is currently 1 week before the start of the term. In 1 week, the geniuses known as the Golden Generation will enroll as freshmen, and Luna is among them, coming to the Imperial Academy to find her parents' killer, and she will choose Professor Rhodes' courses because he is the prime suspect. She will get close, find evidence, and complete her revenge. Killing him will complete her life's baptism and transform her into a true daughter of destiny. With 1 week left, it is time to prepare for the first class. A week later, the school bell rings from the tower. Traffic is heavy at the academy gate. Noble children, alongside specially recruited students, walk inside, all dressed in formal attire. He watches them from the window. He never expected to become chief professor of the Imperial Academy before ever entering Imperial Capital University. He picks up the prepared speech and walks into the grand auditorium with steps as precise as a machine. As his footsteps approach, the noisy hall falls completely silent. He steps onto the podium, puffs out his chest arrogantly, and scans the freshmen with a sharp gaze. No panic. His gaze lingers inconspicuously on several targets. Good. The lead actors are ready. He begins, introducing himself as Chief Professor Rhodes. Next, he will deliver a speech on behalf of all teachers and students of the Imperial Academy. Luna gazes painfully at the man before her, the sword in her hand trembles slightly, her heart wavering. In the split second before her blade pierced his chest, she had, as if possessed, shifted the sword by a hair's breadth. The man before her is the enemy who murdered her parents, the man she had fantasized about killing every waking moment. Yet when she truly faces him, she hesitates because he is Rhodes, her teacher, the person she respects and loves most. The time spent with him was so beautiful she could even briefly. She wanted to forget her hatred, yet this man killed her parents, the root of all her pain. It hurts. Looking at his chest, she feels zero satisfaction. There is no sweet satisfaction of revenge here, only a sharp, heart-wrenching agony. She bites her lower lip so hard that blood seeps from the corner of her mouth. It is as if by piercing his heart, her own chest has been ripped wide open, leaving a massive, unfillable void. Why did it turn out like this? She struggles to ask. Rhodes answers with his usual calm. He was simply doing what he had to do. His face shows no hatred or pain. Instead, there is only a faint, almost imperceptible smile. It conveys total openness and relief. He does not even blame her. Luna breaks down sobbing, suddenly remembering all the beautiful moments they shared. A light drizzle taps her face, making it impossible to tell rain from tears. She wants to go back to the past so badly. She remembers seeing Rhodes at the opening ceremony. Just like the rumors, he was tall, upright, and had absolutely flawless manners. But the thing that stood out most was his high and mighty, arrogant attitude. His striking looks and intense presence easily won over almost everyone around him. But Luna was different. She despised him from the very first second she saw him. To her, everything about the man felt completely disgusting and hypocritical. Yet, no matter how much she loathed him, she had to bury those toxic feelings deep down. Getting close was vital. He was the prime suspect in her parents' murder. She was the avenger. Fighting her rising anxiety, she forced herself to listen to his speech. Thunderous applause erupted all around her for his flawless and brilliant speech. The noise grated on her. She stayed silent, determined to take his course. Surprisingly, his academy classes were extremely unpopular with the students. He made his lectures obscure, leaving only unlucky students with no other choices. Luna chose his class to get close and to eventually expose his true face publicly. But that very first lesson completely shattered all of her expectations. His teaching was not obscure at all, it was actually easy to follow. Vivid demonstrations helped everyone understand, forcing even the biased Luna to pay attention. She had to admit it was flawless, and trust me, her doubts were only starting to grow. In her mind, Rhodes was a despicable thief who stole other people's work. Her parents' research was stolen by him, making them his primary victims. The lessons were strict yet flawless, giving students an incredible boost. People regretted missing out, auditing until the classroom was completely packed. His lectures grew from a small classroom to filling the great auditorium. He was clearly a chief professor with genuine talent, but could it be true? Could such a dedicated man really have killed her parents and stolen their life's work? She watched Rhodes constantly, searching for any tiny slip-up or clue. He was strict, arrogant, and clearly had obsessive habits. Yet he treated all his students equally and took teaching incredibly seriously. Even Luna, who constantly caused trouble, somehow received his quiet support. As a scholarship student, she constantly clashed with wealthy, powerful kids. Facing expulsion, Rhodes stepped in, defended her fairly, and saved her. Later, when she wanted to start a club, no other teacher would sign as guarantor. But he signed it himself, demanding weekly progress reports in return. When a midterm exam crisis threatened her, he arrived to solve the problem. Absolute perfection. Through several major crises later, the group survived only because of his classroom teachings. Personal bias aside, Rhodes was indeed an incredibly dedicated. Luna had never once called him professor, but after the first-year final exam, she received a perfectly fair grade, ranking second in her year, using the exact moment to lay her cards down. Did he know her true identity? Why go so far? Was it because of guilt? For murdering her parents, his cold reply came soon that she was his student, a rough, unpolished gemstone. He only wanted her to shine properly, nothing more. She stared blankly at his departing back, her mind finally made up. In the second year, she submitted an application to formally join his laboratory, officially becoming his disciple and assistant, calling him teacher from then on, recalling those days, being criticized for grooming and accidentally triggering a trap while cleaning the lab, pulling sleepless nights over her thesis. Sent back for revision, attending the council together, bumping into each other at school anniversary events, encountering and resolving life and death crises. There were hardships and tears, but even more happiness and joy, all converged into unforgettable, beautiful memories, like a bittersweet syrup she could not escape from until graduation day, when she made a highly crucial decision and went looking everywhere for Rhodes to surprise him and discover the truth. No matter how she denied it, the bloody reality was Rhodes was the monster who had brutally murdered her parents. The beautiful memories shattered into nothingness instantly. Carrying the evidence, she stumbled before him, the light completely gone from her. Eyes replaced only by pleading, she begged her teacher, even if it was a lie, to tell her none of this was true. Rhodes stayed silent, then nodded coldly. Yes, he killed them. To prove his guilt, he recounted the murder in detail without a shred of guilt. The voice that once made her feel at peace was now grating, like a sharp knife stabbing her heart. Everything before was nothing but a hypocritical lie. The tightly wound string in her heart snapped. Insane with grief, she drew her sword. He leaned against the wall, sitting powerlessly on the ground. The thick curtain of rain separated him from Luna, making her face unclear, even though she had pierced his chest. He had no intention of blaming her, because the story's development had progressed exactly as expected, steadily following the script he had arranged. The only surprise was that Luna failed to deliver the fatal blow. Why was there such a deviation? He reviewed his actions. He followed the predetermined fate to advance his plot, completing System mission objectives. The predetermined fate he saw was made of countless memory fragments, not a complete future, leaving many unclear areas that had to be imagined and filled in by him. The first mission objective required teaching courses perfectly. After deep thought, he packaged himself as a strict professor, fitting Rhodes' persona while letting him use it as cover to advance the plot. So he spent vast amounts of time meticulously preparing each lesson and gave fair evaluations to every single disciple. The response was incredibly enthusiastic, with disciples and even teachers were auditing his classes, letting him sigh with relief. The next task was tough: recruit the destined heroine Luna and train her up. But Luna was an absolute master at attracting constant trouble. He had to constantly step in to keep her from dropping out. He cleaned up her messes while maintaining his strict, serious professor facade. This stellar reputation gave him the perfect excuse to step in. When she clashed with arrogant young nobles, he defended her righteously. He saved her from expulsion, then strictly pushed her when she struggled. He scolded her in public, but quietly offered private lessons later. When she needed student loans, he signed them without a second thought. During deadly threats, he dropped subtle hint strategies in class. Or he simply jumped into the fight himself. All his effort finally bore fruit by the end of the term. That night she stopped him in the quiet hallway, demanding to know his secrets. "Are you doing all of this out of guilt for killing my parents?" Hit with that direct attack, he genuinely had no idea how to respond. He could not exactly explain that it was just a system mission. RH's memories confirmed the murder, but admitting it now would ruin everything. The entire plot would collapse, so he chose a roundabout response instead. "You are my disciple, an unpolished gem. I only want you to shine brightly." It was a heavy, hidden hint for her to join his side. He wanted her as his official disciple, but would she understand? By the second year, Luna finally submitted her student application. He signed it with a cold face, though his heart was racing. Objective 2 complete, but honestly, we all knew the real drama was just starting. Then the truth, revenge. It was time for his grand exit. As a perfectionist, he planned his own tragic death meticulously. He planned his final curtain call a full month before the graduation ceremony. Soft, tragic rain would fall, setting the perfect melancholic mood. The location, his quiet doorstep, completely isolated from any intruders. He would wear his finest robes to look the part. A grand exit right at his peak, and the weapon had to be special. It would be the beautiful sword he planned to gift her. His beloved disciple would use that gifted sword to stab him, avenging her family. Poetic justice, the perfect curtain call, so when she finally arrived, following the clues he deliberately left to block him at the mansion entrance. His heart was calm, he almost smiled, but her next words froze him. "Teacher, please tell me this is a lie. None of this is true." Her voice was ragged, like the agonizing groans of a dying soul. The suffocating grief in her tone was way beyond his expectations. He had completely underestimated the true depth of her feelings. He had always maintained a distant, cold attitude toward her. He treated everyone with strict, cold equality, hiding any favoritism from the world. Honestly, her intense, raw emotion terrified him, but there was no turning back. He braced himself to deliver the final blow. "It is true, I killed them." He kept a perfect poker face to hide his guilt, silently gritting his teeth while recounting the murder in vivid detail to steel her resolve. That finally became the breaking point, the elegant longsword pierced straight through his chest, but right before hitting his heart, the lethal blade shifted by a fraction of an inch. For him, this mercy was worse than death. He lay there wondering if that tiny shift was born of lingering love or absolute hatred. The agonizing pain flared up constantly, sending sharp, white-hot shocks directly through his nerves. His calm expression was a complete lie, nothing but a desperate show to maintain his chief professor persona, silently gritting his teeth to endure. Honestly, he desperately wanted to roll on the ground screaming. Fortunately, his steady blood loss meant he would finally pass away if he could just survive a little longer. This is the last lesson I will ever give you, he whispers softly, looking up at her. Rain and blood loss slowly shroud his vision, blurring the entire world into cold darkness. Through the gloom, he can only make out the silhouette of her bowed head and the moisture sliding down her cheeks. He cannot tell if it is rain or tears. Don't be sad, he whispers. This is truly the best ending for both of them. He can finish his mission, return to his original world, and claim Rhodes' talents while Luna following her predetermined fate will conquer her grief and set out on the path to save the world with her allies, becoming the true destined heroine, the best outcome for everyone. A genuine, quiet smile finally spreads across his bloody face. He is completely beyond saving now, meaning he can finally drop his cold, fake mask. Death is near and everything is under control, but then a voice calls out, "Teacher." The shout echoes from afar, instantly freezing his smile. Hurried footsteps splash through the heavy curtain of rain. This is bad, his heart skips a beat. He forces the absolute last of his strength to look toward the noise, spotting a shadowy figure running desperately through the storm. Even though he cannot see her face clearly, the distinct silhouette betrays her true identity. She is the absolute last person he wants to see right now, because if he is still breathing, she has 10,000 ways to keep him alive. He had calculated every single detail to set up this perfect death. He just needed to die. If she saves him now, all his hard work is completely ruined at the finish line. What would be the point? He absolutely must die before she can reach him. His pupils dilate, panic sets in. He wants to urge Luna to end it, but his failing throat cannot produce a single sound. As for the girl, she stands like a hollow, soulless doll, showing zero intention of delivering the blow. All he can do is watch helplessly as the approaching shadow draws closer. His life is slipping away, but not fast enough, facing the powerful Empress. He had never broken out in a cold, desperate sweat quite like this. Why is she running so fast? At this rate, his plans will be ruined. Damn it all, why is he still breathing? Rhodes' villainous vitality is simply too stubborn. He forces his weak body to move, gasping desperately for air. Trying to hyperventilate, he needs to speed up his failing heart, but not to survive. He wants to pump his blood out of his chest even faster. It is his desperate final struggle, but his body completely betrays his wishes. The sudden rush of adrenaline actually makes him feel stronger. The savior is right before his eyes, reaching out. He screams internally to get lost and stay away. He watches his perfect, long-prepared plan crumble at the critical moment, but then Rhodes's innate talent kicks in, clearing his mind. Like never before, he absolutely refuses to give up as a thought flashes through his mind. The long sword in his chest trembles slightly, despite a tiny vibration of under a millimeter. It successfully ends his final breath. "Teacher," the intruder cries out urgently as Notion begins to slip away. He can no longer make out the words, but it does not matter. It is over. As darkness takes him, he knows he won. Performance ended, starting mission. Settlement. First, successfully completed all assigned teaching courses with S+. Rating, he is the true chief professor. Task 2, he enrolled Destiny heroine Luna, nurturing her talent to earn another S+ evaluation. Her feelings for him run deeper than any abyss. Third, dying at the hands of Destiny heroine Luna. Rating is A, but wait, did he really think he could deceive the system? Unfortunately for him, the autopsy report reveals he died by suicide. Overall rating S, reward issued. Notion blinks at a familiar snow-white ceiling, lying in his own bed, reaching to touch his forehead in blank shock. He is back, sitting up abruptly. He grabs his phone and gets the shock of his life. No time passed. He shakes his head, though it felt like an instant. Memories of playing Rhodes are still etched in his mind. Testing this is easy enough. System, he calls out internally, and a system interface pops up. Name, Notion. Destiny 0, personality, unsmiling roads. Talent, life is like a play, Ether. Dominion S, he sighs with relief. It was all real. He actually has it. Ignoring that weird personality column, he examines his brand new S-rank talent. Ether Dominion S, through sheer effort, he has become the ruler of the world's ether, able to consume spiritual power to create matter itself. He can manipulate it at will, forcing it into any shape he desires. Wait, the system description is kind of hilarious, calling it big and hard. For an eternal old virgin like Rhodes, what kind of joke is this? Notion exits the system and raises a finger, recalling how to use it. A translucent crystal ball suddenly appears right above his fingertip. The so-called ether, according to Rhodes's research, it is materialized spiritual power. It does not convert energy into elements like fire, water, or wind. Instead, it purely transforms illusory mental strength directly into physical matter. This manifests as a pure, highly lethal physical force. Under his absolute control, the ether ball deforms into a translucent small sword. Go, he whispers softly, pointing forward as the blade shoots forward and pins itself to the wall with a heavy thud. Disperse, he commands, cutting off his power so the sword vanishes into countless shimmering particles, staring at the deep hole left behind. He nods with satisfaction. This is exactly what he felt as Rhodes. This power definitely lives up to the S-rank rating. There is only one catch: it heavily drains spiritual power, and he just awakened. He is still far from Rhodes's ultimate potential. What a shame he was. Just one step short of unlocking that peak power, but this is plenty. That was merely Rhodes' second strongest ability, evolved from his basic A-class ether. Manipulation, his ultimate power, was actually acquired through a forbidden art after joining a massive villainous group with a rank surpassing S-rank. In the end, he did not trick the system. During his evaluation at the final moment, he made a tiny move, secretly guiding the ether to force the blade into his chest, ending his life before the intruder arrived. In a way, he actually committed suicide, accepting a lower A-rank score because it was completely unavoidable. Had he not done that, Rhodes would have been saved, and the vital mission would have failed completely. Still, S-class ether dominion is enough to secure his admission to the Imperial Capital University. Surely, nothing will go wrong this time. Honestly, let's hope his luck holds, as he smiles, refusing to believe he is that unlucky, though he worries more about Luna and the others on the other side. Based on the scenes he caught before dying, his death had a massive impact on them. The system's dark evaluation feels highly unsettling, but this is probably just a psychological reaction. Luna and her allies emerging from the shadows is destined to happen. They will surely overcome every obstacle and return to their rightful paths, with Rhodes' tragic death serving as the ultimate turning point. Both worlds should eventually head toward a much brighter future. Rhodes is dead. Luna stares blankly at the silent man before her, sitting quietly like an exquisite sculpture. Even in his final moments, he retains his arrogance. And Grace, staring at her teacher, her eyes completely lose focus. In the end, she still ended up killing her beloved master. The heavy sword in her hand feels incredibly heavy, making it difficult to face this cold, bloody reality. Why did the blade shift at the last second? Was it her own hatred driving her, forcing her to pierce his chest? It is a terrifying, absolute dread she has never experienced before. She desperately wants to abandon everything, curl up in a dark corner where no one knows her, and escape this terrible reality. Suddenly, a piercing scream forcibly drags her back as a silver-haired woman bursts into their quiet, private world. She has always intruded upon their lives, ruining their beautiful moments together. And he loudly demands to know what she has done, leaving Luna trembling as she drops the bloody sword to flee, and he feels deep resentment but cannot afford to care. Kneeling on one knee before Rhodes, she looks at the long blade embedded in his chest, Pursing her lips and gritting her teeth, she pulls it out, instantly placing both hands over the gaping wound to activate her innate power. A bright silver-white spectral light bursts from her hands, completely enveloping his body, making the surrounding spacetime ripple. Under her anxious gaze, the splattered blood flows backward along its path, returning to him, and the fatal wound heals at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than a moment, the injury vanishes as if it never existed. She begs him to wake up, gently stroking his cheek, but he gives no response. She pleads with him, begging him not to pretend to sleep, reminding him of how he scolded his students for sleeping so soundly. She desperately threatens to kiss him if he keeps this up, crying that she should have locked him up long ago so he could never leave her. She begs him to stay, weeping as large tears fall. Uncontrollable, she sobbed hysterically as the favorite student of Rode. As the top scholar, she wields the magic of time reversal. She can bend spacetime backward, resetting reality to any point she chooses. Yet there is one thing she cannot restore: departed life. In the past, she saved countless souls, but now her teacher is gone. A rainy night, Rode vanished completely from the Empire. A week later, his quiet absence is discovered, when imperial servants arrive to invite him to teach the Empress, but find nothing. Neither his house nor his laboratory holds a single clue. Her Majesty mobilizes the entire nation to search, but they find absolutely nothing. He was last seen heading home right after the graduation party. Even the Academy head, known as the strongest mage in a millennium, cannot trace him. Rumors whisper the Empress is growing increasingly unstable. Her servants walk on eggshells. Meanwhile, a chilling legend spreads about a witch crying inside the clock tower in the dead of the night. The new term begins, but the head professor position remains vacant. Absolutely nobody can replace him, and the secret laboratory door remains locked tight. Silence, yet soft weeping still echoes from inside. Everyone knows his two-star disciples graduated and then vanished too. Anhai, the top scholar, and Luna, the second best, are nowhere to be found. Gone, both girls vanished without a single trace. Where are they? Classmates gather to discuss their grim future. The world has grown dangerous, and mysterious, unseen demons are starting to appear. These demons serve the sinister Advent Society. That name sounds incredibly familiar. Have you already forgotten? The teacher Rode was actually one of the members of that shadow group. He introduced us to them secretly, which helped me escape disaster. Connected, his mysterious disappearance must be related to them. I plan to recruit Anhai and Luna to investigate this mystery together. Anhai is completely missing. Last time I saw her, she was dragging a massive suitcase. As for Luna, are you not her best friend? Why hesitate? She sighs, admitting she is quietly looking after her friend and keeping her safe. See for yourselves. The group follows her to the house of Luna. Opening the front door, they step into a house that is perfectly neat and clean. Lifeless, the furniture sits perfectly arranged and untouched. They walk through the living room, heading upstairs toward the small attic. The friend knocks softly, but there is no answer. They gently push open the door. Cramped inside is a dark, neglected little room. The windows are shut tight, blocking out all light. A girl curls up on her bed. She hugs her knees, eyes vacant and completely devoid of any life. Practically dead, they try to communicate but get nothing. Disappointed, they leave the attic. When did she fall into this state? I found her inside his laboratory, and she was already completely unresponsive like this. A mystery. Did the sudden disappearance of Rode cause this quiet breakdown? Eventually her tears dried, leaving her sitting there in complete silence. She lies there curled up. Is there really no way to help her recover? Unless they find Rode. She feels like she ruined everything, staring blankly into the dark void. The absolute darkness is just as empty as her heart. She killed Rode, the person she loved most. When he died, her own heart died right along with him. Her life is now forever frozen. Frozen in the past with only endless regret, her current self is a far cry from before. Far from the bright future Road envisioned, Anhai had mocked her, saying she would wake up their teacher. Calling Luna nothing more than a failure, that is why Anhai was the top scholar while Luna remained second. Those were Anhai's cruel parting words that night as she left, carrying Road's lifeless body away. She did not even bother to end Luna's life, leaving her alive as the ultimate punishment. Utterly broken, Luna hides away in the laboratory, weeping silently underneath her desk. But then she unexpectedly stumbles upon a secret compartment. Opening it, she finds dust-covered files. Inside are sealed records and intelligence Road collected about the Advent Society. One particular research report catches her eye. It outlines a horrific plan for human experimentation. Surprisingly, the authors are people she knows intimately, her own parents, Luke and Anna. And the test subject was their own child, Luna herself. This cruel project had passed review. It passed the Advent Society review, but was never started because both researchers met with misfortune. Road had personally killed them. His true motive remains entirely unknown, but one thing is certain. One thing is absolutely certain. The revenge she pursued her entire life was entirely meaningless. Road had saved her life and she killed him. That was the simple, devastating truth. Completely shattered, Luna seals off her heart. To her, she is already dead, but elsewhere. He cannot believe his guaranteed admission slot is just gone, the day after the villain performance. He returns to school only to receive this terrible news from his homeroom teacher, Hua. His homeroom teacher, Hua, tells Nation not to rush, raising a hand to soothe him. He explains that their guaranteed admission and special recruitment programs actually share the exact same quota pool. The slot count per school is strictly fixed. Special recruitment takes precedence over guaranteed admission, and unfortunately, Special Recruit has appeared. His ranking was pushed back, meaning he did not get the slot. Wang Guan, who awakened a powerful S-rank talent, was specially recruited, taking Nation's spot. The teacher confirms that is exactly what happened. Hua nods with a wry smile and hands him the list from his desk. Imperial Capital University gave their school 5 slots total. Nation was originally ranked third. But the list updates after the awakening ceremony based on talent rank. After this update, he dropped to 7th. He glances at the list. Wang Guan with his S rank. Talent is the only special recruit, sitting firmly in first. The next 4 are 3 originally guaranteed students, plus the former 6th ranked student who awakened in a class talent and bumped someone out. Besides Nation, one other guaranteed student also lost their spot. Hua chuckles dryly, telling him not to worry too much since similar cases have happened before. Students who lose their slots actually get extra points on the college entrance exam. He can take the exam normally and applying to Imperial Capital University adds 30 points. There is simply no room for maneuver, and the teacher regrets that he tried his absolute best, but the official rules simply cannot be changed. Nation calmly thanks his teacher, nods, and turns to leave the office. Seeing Nation is not in high spirits, the teacher offers some final words. He tells him not to be discouraged. His academic scores have always been stellar. Even with a C-rank talent, he can still achieve a good score with enough practice. He wants to make Imperial Capital University look at him in a new light. He understands. Nation looks back with a quick smile that vanishes as he turns. His face goes completely blank. How the elite university views him is one thing. How he views them is another. Playing the role of Road has changed his mindset. His mind is different. The school is elite, but not his only option. He decides to simply take the college entrance examination. Nation resolves to take first place in both academics and martial arts. Back in class, almost everyone is studying diligently, making their final push. This world respects martial power, but ordinary mortals are still the vast majority. Without combat talents, they are destined to toil as ordinary people. The only slacker is Wang Guan in the corner, feet propped on his desk like a boss. Nashin has no grudge against him and zero reason to talk. He simply ignores him. He returns to his seat, deeply influenced by Rhodes' serious and reserved personality. Nashin quickly enters a state of deep focus, then knock knock, someone taps his desk. Wang Wan's smug face is right there, asking if Nashin awakened a C-rank talent too. He wants to know what he awakened while grinning. Nashin just stares back. He knows exactly what this guy wants. Everyone is bragging about their awakenings. Wang Wan just wants to step on him to make himself look good. Yesterday, that might have worked, but Nashin is taking the exams anyway. Nashin replies he will find out soon. The bully frowns, deeply annoyed. But he suppresses it, claiming that despite being specially recruited, he wants to test. He wants to experience the martial arts portion. Maybe they will even face off. He pats Nashin's shoulder with fake confidence and heads back to his seat. Nashin ignores him. Suddenly, the silent system screen flashes to life. And just like that, the gears of destiny start spinning for our main character. He must rewrite his side character fate and announce himself as the ultimate villain. His first goal, take first place in the school's academic exams. He must do it by any means necessary. Reward, 20 destiny points. Goal 2, secure first place in the school's martial arts exam. Another 20 points, but there is a third goal involving his classmate Wang Wan. He must face the bully during the test, despite his monstrous S-rank strength. He must defeat him using everything he has. Reward, 10 destiny points. Plus a mysterious extra prize. Nashin can't help but find this hilarious. He suppresses his urge to laugh out loud, keeping a complete poker face. He was always confused about these destiny points and how to get them. Now the answer is clear. They are tied directly to the system's performance. To pull off his next performance, he has to unleash his full power. He has to claim every single reward. Soon, exam week finally arrives. First comes the academic test, followed by the intense martial arts exam. Standard schools focus on academics, while elite academies value combat power. Taking both isn't required, but having both scores gives a major bonus. Naturally, most students sign up for both. Nashin's grades are always top tier. He consistently ranks in the top 10, guaranteeing his spot on the elite list. But these top grades are not the real source of his ultimate confidence. Acting as the serious, quiet Road has completely transformed his mental state. When he recalls Road's state, it is like putting on a personality mask, becoming an incarnation of him, dedicating himself to studying with sharp focus. His thoughts run fast. Road is a brilliant chief. Professor whose absolute genius and logic earned recognition even from the Academy's headmaster and the Empress herself. So in the exam hall he channels Road, glancing at a question. Answers flood his mind. It is basically an open book. While others struggle, Nashin has already neatly written the perfect answers and obsessively double-checks everything. Having a genius professor take the exam makes it way too easy. Once the 3-day test concludes, the martial arts exam begins. On the second morning after the written test, candidates gather at the training grounds for the martial exam. It has 3 sections: basic abilities, stamina, talent. The talent showcase for judges and actual combat. Drills, live stage combat counts for 60% of the score. Today is the first 2 sections. The training ground is packed in a martial world. Even untalented hopefuls try their luck, since getting into a top academy is a massive win. Whispers start, isn't that Nashin? There he had a recommendation slot. Why is he taking this martial exam? He awakened a weak C-rank talent, so his slot was revoked. He simply filters the gossip out. The stage is set, no need to rush. A commotion erupts. On the track, the school tyrant is incredible. Wang Wan streaks far ahead of everyone, already a physical anomaly. His S-ranked talent likely boosts his physical traits. He practically flies at the finish line. A cheering fan club surrounds him. This former school bully, once feared and avoided by everyone, has instantly become the idol of The entire school, capturing the hearts of countless girls, talent changes destiny. And those who tested beside him sit panting. Relegated to the background, but one girl catches his attention. Of the students who lost their recommendation slots, one is him, the other is her, double braids, thick old-school black-rimmed glasses, Seo Sajin. Like him, she awakened an ordinary C rank, having lost to Wang Guan. She purses her lips in silent defeat, watching him get treated like a star with envy and loneliness before quietly slipping away. Nobody cares. Soon, his basic test begins. He has not been lazy. In fact, he spent more time on physical training than studying. Strength test, passed. Speed test, passed too. Spiritual test, passed too. Now his database updates. The basic attributes are officially added to his status panel. Name, Nation Destiny 0. Talents, life is a play rank C, and ether dominion rank S. Attributes, strength B, speed A, stamina B, spiritual power A+, perception A, will S. His overall evaluation is around a rank. In this system, C is ordinary, B excellent, A outstanding, and S extraordinary. Even Wang Guan's stamina likely has not reached S, so Nation's result is highly likely top 3. His mental attributes are undoubtedly first, leaving the area. Students discuss their results. One groans, crying they did terribly and are totally doomed. Without any combat talent, they might as well inherit their family fortune instead. Comparing yourself only makes you angry. That school tyrant completely crushed everyone. Many drop out because they can't compete, simply accepting their grim fate. The hopeful candidates quickly sober up and accept their lives as mere mortals. This is likely the true purpose of dividing the exam into stages. It gently persuades untalented students to withdraw because life outside the wall is brutally cruel, making peaceful protection inside a much better option. Nation briefly wonders if he would have given up without his system. He quickly dismisses the thought, knowing he is far too stubborn. Even if life is just a play, he will persevere and survive. Walking out to find lunch, he heads toward a quiet courtyard pavilion. But someone has already beaten him to it, as several girls appear. They are grinning and laughing about how useless top grades are now. Awakening to trash talent makes all her previous efforts completely wasted. She will always remain at the absolute lowest tier of martial artists. The girls suddenly bump into Nation and freeze, instantly silencing their gossip. They quickly flee, and he turns the corner to investigate the scene. At first, he thought they were mocking him, but it was another. Sure enough, the plain-looking Seo Sajin is sitting alone on the bench. Her head is down, hands gripping her thighs as her body trembles. She silently laments her broken promise to enter the Imperial Capital University. She wanted to be a great warrior, but C-rank talent achieves nothing. Realizing she might give up, Nation initially decides to leave her alone. But a system notification suddenly alerts him to a massive turning point. The gears of fate are turning, but the system is not helping. As a charming villain, how could he miss the chance to attack? Trampling on her fragile self-esteem is exactly what a villain does. His objective is to viciously insult this weeping daughter of destiny. He must denounce her incompetence to gain 10 valuable destiny points. The secondary goal is to prove that C-rank talent is not useless. He must conquer the entire school using only his own C rank. That offers 20 points, prompting him to analyze these chosen ones. They are basically children of the plane, recognized as the main protagonists. Just like Luna, they are always embroiled in crises they survive. Seo Sajin seems like a lower-tier substitute with protagonist potential. The system cat cheekily confirms his guess, but offers no actual rewards. He tells the annoying cat to explain things much earlier next time. Nation thinks back irritably, deducing that if fated daughters exist, then actual protagonists must be active in this world somewhere. As a villain standing opposite them, he resolves to watch closely. Activating his acting skills, Nashin wears a scornful smile and steps out. He calls her a country bumpkin, making her look up in shock. She sees a boy with a cold sneer standing before her. Although they barely interacted during high school, she immediately recognizes him. As Nashin, their top academic grades constantly shared the same stage. They stand together at graduation. More importantly, he shares her exact painful experience. A failure who only awakened a C-rank talent, losing all chance at direct admission. To Imperial Capital University, she thinks that if it is him, someone who shares his misfortune, perhaps he can resonate with her. She clings to a glimmer of hope looking into his eyes, but what greets her is pure contempt. Contempt, just because you awakened a C-rank talent, he sneers, you hide here sighing and groaning, to think someone like you once competed on the same stage as me truly lowers my standards. He points right at her nose, cursing her without mercy. So what if it's a C-rank talent? So what if you can't get into Imperial Capital University? 3 years of hard high school work, finally reaching this last step, and you just give up like this? Are you even human? Honestly, that hurts. She never expected such insults. Bitter grievance wells up. They are not even close. Why say such hurtful things? He presses on, arms crossed, full of disdain. In the awakening ceremony, 80% can only awaken C-rank and below, with only 20% above that. So, awakening C-rank is normal. If you can't recognize this, you might as well drop out early. You're not qualified to become a transcendent martial artist. A C-rank talent isn't trash. You crying because you awakened to C-rank are trash. His words pierce her heart. She cannot understand why he is doing this when she already feels so bad. Was it because she looked easy to bully? She places a hand on her chest. Ever since she awakened to C-rank, her life turned 180 degrees. Direct admission was gone. Teachers' attitudes turned cold. Classmates made snide remarks. Even her grandmother, who raised her alone, was implicated and made the laughing stock of the entire neighborhood. In contrast, that special enrollment student instantly became a hot commodity. No matter how she tries, she cannot overcome the gap. In talent, this world is truly unfair. She bites her lower lip tightly, eyes welling with tears as she looks up at him. His arrogant contempt makes her sad, an urge to cry. But also a strange emotion erupts, so unwilling to submit, because if it were anyone else it would be fine. Aren't you the same as me? She suppresses her bitterness and musters her courage. You also awakened to C-rank talent, so why can you still persist? There is also a gap between C-rank and C-rank. His answer makes her widen her eyes. You can wallow in self-pity here by yourself, he says. I will use my C-rank talent to slap the faces of everyone who looks down on me, including you. Leaving that last sentence, he turns and walks away resolutely. She stares blankly at his receding back. Then he finally flees in disgrace. He leaves the courtyard with a deadpan face, not daring to look back. If not for RH's stern personality at play, he would already be rolling on the ground in embarrassment, digging a luxurious villa with his toes. Strictly speaking, he had no right to say those things since he has a cheat. But Seo Sajin is not ordinary either. As a daughter of destiny, she should encounter her own opportunity. He had prepared other drafts, but did not expect her psychological endurance to be so poor. She looked about to cry after only a few words, so he had to end his gloating early. The mission objective is completed, and the reward is credited. Goal achieved. Making a daughter of destiny cry right at the start, taking his first step as a villain. The system notes he is something else, betting it won't be long until he corrupts her. With fate points distributed, he needs 100 points for his next performance. Even with that bizarre evaluation, his reward actually goes through. He checks the fate points that are finally above 0, feeling incredibly pleased with himself. Several other objectives are waiting, and although they offer small rewards, they add up. He will begin his next performance soon, as lunch break passes quickly. The second phase, the talent demonstration, begins inside the busy gymnasium. Candidates line up to perform before the grading teachers as queues stretch outside. However, the numbers have thinned out since many quit, so he waits at the back. As the first candidates walk out showing mixed emotions, the top scorers are mostly combat-focused students wielding elements like fire, electricity, or demonization. Those with non-combat abilities struggle to get scored after 2 hours of waiting. His turn finally comes. He steps into the room and walks onto the spacious platform, facing 10 strict examiners representing different institutions. He reads off Nashin's name and registration number, a C-1245. He notes the young man's C-rank talent is registered, as life is like a play. Nashin confirms this is correct, prompting the teacher to ask for a demonstration. The examiner waves him forward, though the entire panel has already lost interest. A basic C-rank ability awakened by an ordinary student seems completely useless. Since it lacks any obvious combat focus, they assume he is just trying. They believe he is going through the motions like most weak candidates. The panel actually wants to discourage these dreamers to keep them safe. They want them living peacefully inside the walls instead of dying outside. Suddenly, the grading teacher looks up in absolute shock at Nashin. The boy before them looks vastly different from other low-rank applicants. He displays a remarkably calm demeanor and absolute, unwavering confidence. It almost borders on arrogance, making them wonder where it comes from. Before they can ask, Nashin begins describing his unique, theatrical ability. He admits that, just as they suspect, this talent has no direct combat use. He calmly adjusts his collar, smoothing out his uniform creases. Then he explains that his ability boosts his learning and self-growth. To prove his claim, he decides to demonstrate his primary feature, imitation. His remarkably clear and steady voice echoes with an almost magnetic quality. It captures their focus as he explains that life is simply a grand performance. Everyone on Earth plays a unique role while he serves as the actor. With a smirk, he retrieves a wooden training sword from the weapon rack. He can replicate any fighter's physical movements and expressions. He can even copy their mindset, turning these skills into his own. He reproduces them flawlessly, though he knows actions speak louder than words. He invites any interested examiner to step up and perform a few moves. He promises to copy them instantly, leaving the entire panel utterly speechless. They trade uneasy glances, debating whether they should actually test him. One athletic instructor in tight combat gear strokes his chin with curiosity. He watches Nashin closely, wondering if this kid is genuinely skilled or bluffing. Determined to find out, the swordsman stands up and walks onto the stage. He casually grabs another training sword, introducing himself as a professional swordsman. He announces he will demonstrate his unique art, eager to see the results. If you can pick up 30% of this, I will acknowledge your talent. 50% is excellent. 70% is perfect. Watch closely. The teacher brandishes his longsword. No spiritual energy, just pure swordsmanship, stabbing, chopping, deflecting, and pointing. Moves connecting flawlessly, fluid and unrestrained, like water rushing down a stream. In just a fleeting moment, the examiner completely demonstrates the entire form. Sheathing his weapon, he comes to a halt. All right, now it is your turn. He points at Nashin with a smile while the others watch. The boy stays silent. He immediately adopts the exact same starting stance, that one basic move. It makes the teacher's eyes widen. Then, the sword in Nashin's hand begins to move. He reproduces the exact sequence of attacks right before everyone's eyes. Is this really possible? Can a simple C-rank talent actually pull this off? The entire panel of judges stares in absolute shock. The swordsman is speechless. As the one who just showed him the moves, he stares at Nashin in disbelief. 70%, 80%, no, it is already way past that. Not only did he memorize every single move, he executes them flawlessly. Suddenly eager for a real test, the teacher raises his blade and thrusts. Faced with this, Nation calmly shifts, deflecting the sudden strikes one by one. They trade over a dozen blows, perfectly matching each other move for move. They stop together. The teacher declares it a perfect pass. Still not satisfied, the master spreads his arms and extends a sudden invitation. He tells Nation he thinks highly of him, inviting the boy to become his apprentice. He promises to teach him everything, ensuring Nation will eventually surpass him. Another examiner objects, shouting that recruiting during an exam is completely against the rules. A teacher wearing glasses slams his hand on the desk and stands. He announces himself as a recruiter for Donjin University, eagerly inviting Nation to join. They want him immediately, promising that all his tuition will be completely waived. Room and board are covered, along with massive scholarships. Another recruiter tells Nation to ignore them and choose Namian University instead. Suddenly, a cold voice cuts through the chaos, ordering them all to stop. The room goes quiet. The most senior invigilator has finally spoken up. The other teachers obediently sit back down. The old professor coughs, looking suspicious. He asks if Nation really awakened a C-rank talent. Nation simply confirms it. The elder frowns deeply. To his knowledge, the capabilities of C-rank talents are extremely limited. He has seen other C-ranks, and none could imitate movements this perfectly. A rank refers not just to the type of power, but its actual potency. For example, a C-rank fireball would barely be larger than a basketball. What Nation just displayed clearly exceeded that level. He offers a quick excuse. Maybe his compatibility rate is unusually high, which boosts his power. Still, his performance had very little to do with that. Only Nation knows the real truth. This performance was not just about raw talent. Simple imitation can never perfectly replicate someone else's lifetime of hard training. But that assumes he has never picked up a sword before today. The panel judges him on that lie, but in reality, he has a secret. He once impersonated Rhodes, gaining years of deadly sword experience. Though the body and talent did not carry over, the memories remain. His retained knowledge means he isn't some beginner copying moves. He's analyzing them like an expert. He acts like a true swordsmanship expert. His decision to grab that practiced long sword was meant to bait them into using actual swordsmanship. The old professor ponders his words deeply, completely unable to find any other possible explanation. He lets him off. His talent is actually quite good. His passive growth talent cannot directly manifest in combat, but it helps him learn combat skills much faster, rivaling pure combat abilities. In certain domains, it is even more powerful, so he hopes he makes good use of it. Dismissed, his target progress hits 30%. The invigilating teachers are deeply impressed by his displayed talent, but for any true martial artist, no matter how solid the foundation, everything comes down to real, practical combat. This starts the final event. True combat means leaving the safety walls behind to face terrifying demonic beasts. But because these high schoolers just awakened without training, the event evolved into stage battles. By the final day, competition stages crowd the training grounds. To build excitement, the tournament is fully public. Parents and recruiters pack the audience seats. When he arrives, the venue is roaring. The stands are completely submerged in massive crowds, vastly outnumbering candidates. 2 grueling screening rounds have successfully whittled over 1,000 candidates down to 300. Right on schedule, the principal takes the podium to announce the rules. This exam is split into 2 distinct, high-stakes phases. First, fighters are randomly split into 16 groups across 16 chaotic stages. Only the top 4 survivors from each massive free-for-all will advance to the knockouts. Those 64 advancers are randomly matched for intense, sudden-death duels. Winners keep advancing steadily until a single champion is crowned. He hopes all students show their true spirit and give their absolute utmost today. With those words, the test begins as celebratory cannons blast. The audience erupts into cheers while the massive electronic display screen lights up. Wait for it, his group assignment is finally locked. He steps onto the stage alongside 17 other candidates, mostly complete strangers. Everyone stands in incredibly tense silence, warily sizing up the dangerous competition around them. The second all fighters are ready, the referee signals the start. Dead silence at first, then the bolder fighters charge. The stage descends into madness as aggressive candidates start throwing heavy attacks. Suddenly he swells up, a massive werewolf. He brutally tears through the crowd, tossing rivals off stage. Those feral, glowing beast eyes lock directly onto him, sneering at the exempted C-rank weakling. He lunges forward aggressively, but our main character is entirely fearless. This overconfident werewolf is basically just handing him an easy win. The beast looks fierce, but these newly awakened fighters are far from invincible. He effortlessly dodges the heavy lunge, slicing his blade across the chest. A swift horizontal sweep then sends the bewildered monster crashing straight off the platform. If C-ranks shouldn't show up, what does that make the guy who got wrecked? Looking around, the total survivor count has suddenly plummeted to under 10. One candidate stands completely relaxed, despite Wang Guan's S-rank thunder. Nashin is still one of the few in the entire school with a class talent, 2 other candidates seem to have reached a tacit understanding, working together to eliminate everyone else. This preliminary round tests adaptation using any means. To become the final 4 on the stage, soon the 5th-to-last candidate is forced off, letting Nashin and 3 others advance. The chaotic battles on other stages finally end. The top 64 are announced. S-rank Wang Guan and all A-class candidates easily advance. Most B-rank candidates survive, except for a few unlucky ones. Only a handful of C-rank candidates remain, merely filling the empty spots. This clearly proves the ultimate value of talent. This first phase, the preliminary round, has concluded perfectly. Next up is the knockout round, featuring random matching. All candidates, please confirm your rankings and head to your designated stages. As the numbers are called, the exam reaches its climax. Nashin steps onto the stage. His opponent is a B-rank fighter who spots Nashin's C-rank, thinking his luck is incredibly good, but that remains to be seen. Up in the stands, most seats are filled with cheering parents, but a small section holds admissions teachers from prestigious institutions scouting for hidden gems. One teacher sighs that this year's student quality is high, with more C-rank or higher candidates than usual. His colleague agrees. Their gazes shift toward a stage where a tall youth cloaked in blue lightning sends his opponent flying with a single punch. That must be the S-rank candidate, this year's top martial exam scholar. A shame he was already recruited by Imperial Capital University, otherwise they would never let him slip away. Imperial Capital University holds the absolute top spot among the nation's 5 elite tier universities. Ordinary first-rate institutions like theirs simply cannot compete. Their goal here is A-class and B-rank candidates, solid backbone potential not yet snatched up by famous academies. The two keep watching the matches of B-rank candidates. Soon, a certain C-rank candidate enters their line of sight. They are shocked to find this candidate actually defeating a far stronger opponent, defeating a B-rank adversary before they can even voice their sheer amazement. An excited shout erupts nearby. A female teacher wearing glasses stares intensely at a stage in the corner. The pair quickly follow her gaze. They see a sword-wielding candidate standing calmly before suddenly unleashing a fierce sword strike. The sharp sword light cuts through the air, instantly hitting his opponent's weak point and sweeping him off the stage. The two are so captivated by his exquisite swordsmanship that they completely forget about all other candidates. It is only when Nashin swiftly eliminates yet another contestant that they suddenly snap back to their senses. Quick check his details. He is definitely an extraordinary talent. Let me check the name. Nashin, awakening talent, C-rank. How is that even possible? Chapter 11, a massive. Thank you. After he eliminates 2 opponents, the system updates his target. Progress to 50%. Several teachers and students have noticed his extraordinary performance. He can feel faint gazes from the central designated zone where admissions. Teachers are watching. Teacher Sorum even waves, but Nashin pretends not to see and heads straight to the rest area. Inside, Wang Guan sits casually in the center. Narrowing his eyes, he never expected Nashin to make it this far, saying he really hates to lose. An A-class candidate from his preliminary round simply clicks his tongue. This year's top 16 has 2 C-rank candidates. Nation scans the room. Seo Sajin stands in the corner with her head lowered. Their eyes meet. The daughter of destiny made it all this way against the odds. He sits down to rest. Soon all 16 gather. 1 S rank, 12 A class, 1 B class, 2 C rank. For once, a B class is outranked. The proctor confirms everyone is present. The top 16 matches start at 2. He naps to conserve strength. Suddenly, the ground shakes, the 16 arenas sink, and an incredibly wide new stage rises from the center. After lunch, the students walk out. A single massive arena dominates their vision. The central screen displays the fresh matchups. The second half officially begins. First match, Wang Guan versus Seo Sajin. Even Nation feels a moment of silent sympathy. Luck always brings danger along with opportunity. How incredibly boring. Why did I draw you? Wang Guan yawns, cleaning his ear. Strongest S rank against the weakest C rank, completely uninteresting. Seo Sajin purses her lips in silence, glances at the contestant seats, bites her lip and faces him. Even as a mere C rank, she still wants to become an extraordinary martial artist. Then he will shatter her delusion. The match begins and Seo Sajin activates her skill. Countless steel wires emerge from her sleeves, tightly coiling around Wang Guan. Thread manipulation. He is surprised. These threads have incredibly sharp cutting and binding. With proper development, she is a merciless cutting machine. The prerequisite is powerful kinetic energy and toughness, but her skill lacks that. But her ability is lacking. Is her talent too weak? The constricting force is insufficient, merely coiling lightning. He snorts as greenish electric light bursts, instantly tearing her wires. A C rank should act like a C rank. He approaches step by step. You and Nation are both failed scholarship students. The talent gap is insurmountable. He lunges. C rank is the most useless. A torrent of violent lightning pours from his fist, sweeping across the arena. She cannot resist, getting scorched and heavily thrown out. Wang Guan wins completely. Talk about a brutal shutdown. Some look at Nation with strange expressions. Those words were not just aimed at her. His heart is completely unperturbed. He even wants to laugh. Target progress 60%. His contemptuous words only build the stage for him to conquer all teachers and students. He really appreciates it. The matches continue, mostly consisting of internal A class battles of similar strengths, back and forth. Even the Seoul B class held on long before defeat. Soon, the last top 16 match begins. Nation against an A class opponent. Since he is a class, he should last a bit longer. In the special viewing area, teachers from various academies are present. They watch the promising talents. Professor Yu from Imperial Capital Academy is here. Both have ties to their school. Nation was originally recommended, but awakened as a C rank and was not selected. Leo in A class has already signed with their school. Other teachers look over with envy. Suddenly, a teasing voice asks, if Nation wins against Leo, wouldn't that be awkward? Professor Yu's smile stiffens. Teacher Sorum from Dong Sang Academy speaks. Among the 5 super first-class academies, Imperial Capital holds the top spot and has long been rivals with the others. Dong Sang is one. Teacher Sorum is joking. While Nation is compensated for his C-rank shortcomings, the massive gap is still there. He might hold out for a while, but ultimately be defeated. Is that so, though? The situation in the arena is completely different from your claim, she says, pushing up her glasses. Professor Yu looks closely and is absolutely shocked. On stage, Leo is being completely dominated by Nashin. He relies on his overwhelming sword skills too. Relentlessly overwhelm Leo. The guy's talent is strong, but having just awakened, he suffers from casting delay. Nashin spots his fatal weaknesses and exploits them mercilessly. Leo only managed to use his talent once at the start. How despicable. Professor Yu trembles with pure anger. This is simply called strategy, Teacher Soren says. Calmly, a swordmaster instructor wearing a sleek suit chuckles. Has Nashin already mastered his sword skill? He uses it so proficiently, leaving the instructor terrified of his talent. Nam Gongjai of Heavenly Martial. Professor Yu's eyes immediately sharpen. Yu became a visiting professor to suppress us, even stooping to private tutoring. Nam Gongjai insists he did not teach him, stating he learned it himself while shrugging. The battle is ending. Nashin faints, forcing Leo to lose balance. A leg sweep and it is over. Sword to throat, Leo lowers his head, admitting his defeat. Target progress reaches 80%, firing the first shot to conquer all. Teachers and students, the waiting area's gazes have completely changed. A C rank defeated an A class using tricks. It is still too outrageous. He has got something but not much. In the quarterfinals, Nashin's matches draw massive crowds, even overshadowing Wang Guan. This time, his opponent is an A-class sword art candidate. After observing his sword skill, Nashin mimics it on the spot, then defeats him with his very own technique. Is this his talent? A mere C rank, but why does it feel so incredibly strong? It is basically a cheating copy talent. Nashin's power is no longer a secret. Many find it outrageous that his ability is only C rank. Some C rank candidates hold a completely different emotion. If a C rank can dominate, maybe they have hope. When Nashin defeats his semi-final opponent and advances to the finals, the arena erupts. Believe it or not, a C rank made it to the end. If he wins the championship, he makes history. He is already rewriting history, defeating S rank Wang Guan. Nobody can imagine how he could possibly win. Professor Yu in the special stand suddenly shouts out, coughing, S rank is 1 in a million. Completely different from A class. I admit Nashin far exceeds C rank, but there is still a gap to S rank. What if he wins? Teacher Sim teases. S rank Wang Wan is your specially recruited student. If he wins, that is his own capability. We need to look at the bigger picture. Even if they lose, it doesn't matter. He puffs his chest. Also, regardless of results, he plans to recruit Nashin as soon as possible. The other teachers exchange glances. As long as Nashin is also recruited, the final does not matter. The imperial capital wins twice. Are you so sure he will choose? Teacher Soren narrows her eyes. Of course he was originally a recommended student. His first choice was our school. She frowns. Having no way to refute, the finals begin. Target progress is 90%. Brave young man. Now watch him create a miracle by defeating an S rank for the history books. Face Wang Guan and fight with all your might to defeat him. Winning completes two objectives at once. A faint smile plays on Nashin's face. To Wang Guan, this smile is glaring. Seeing him so calm in front of an S rank, a blue vein bulges on his forehead, his expression twisting. He is deeply displeased by Nashin's rise, relegated to the backdrop. The crowd wanted his dominance, but now they are more curious. How far can he go? Everyone hopes he makes history, turning his rival into a laughingstock. This is just like their awakening, but with their positions completely reversed. Wang Guan asks if he knows how annoying he is, clearly having awakened a C rank while shamelessly making a fool of himself. Still, Wang Guan admits his strength exceeded expectations, but now he unleashes his true talent. Violent lightning transforms into azure lightning snakes coiling around his body. A terrifying aura spreads before absolute talent. He sneers that effort is simply insufficient. Striking first, Wang Guan challenges him to block this S-rank punch as lightning snakes along his fist. He was hiding this power, drawing shocked gasps from the stands. He calmly flicks his sword, deflecting the lightning aside while retreating. Seeing him suppressed, Professor Yu nods with satisfaction, believing the game is over. Teacher Sorum does not deny it, looking at Nam Gumjai, who stares at the stage with deep surprise and uncertainty. That is a unique sword stance she has never seen before. Wang Guan is covered in lightning like a thunder beast, crazily tearing at him. His S-rank talent, 3,000 thunder movements, stimulates his cells, greatly strengthening his physical abilities. While controlling violent lightning, he chases, mockingly asking where that confidence went. With a ferocious laugh, arcs of electricity transform into thunder snakes. He deflects with his sword tip while using agile footwork to dodge, in absolute power. Differences, even the finest technique becomes completely meaningless. Suddenly, his body erupts with even stronger lightning, blasting the boy 10 meters away. He looks at his long sword, seeing sparks dancing on the blade and scorch marks burning his uniform. Agreeing in silence, he gazes earnestly. Fighting competitions divided by weight, class, and transcendence are strictly ranked for a specific reason. Technique only works when the power gap is small, but as too newly awakened. What makes Wang Guan believe his power is absolute? Talent matters, but effort can bridge the gap. He recalls the legendary figure Rhodes, who was no genius, starting merely as an A rank, yet became chief professor. Through sheer, desperate effort, eventually upgrading his A rank potential to S rank, he even obtained talents beyond S rank, becoming a self-made genius through hard work. With the unsmiling Rhodes' personality active, he calmly flicks his sword in a graceful arc toward the ground. This is a swordsmanship from another world. Luna swordsmanship. Rhodes himself was never skilled with a blade. But because Luna possessed grandmaster talent, they researched and studied it together. In the end, they forged an epic, legendary technique named after Luna herself. Containing the power of longing, the moonlight sword glows softly, emitting a gentle silver light. This exclusive grandmaster skill belonged to Luna, and even Rhodes could not master it. Still, imitation is possible and life is like a play. Watch as he puts on a hypocritical mask to perform, filling his empty heart, even a mere 1%. Imitation is enough to crush the S-rank before him, ending his theatrical display. Wang Guan senses a dangerous threat, crouching like a beast as lightning retracts into his body to envelope him. Convinced it is over, he transforms into a thunder beast and shoots forward, leaving swift afterimages. It is time to end this. The image of a young girl dancing with her sword under the moonlight appears in his mind. His movements overlap with Luna's as he gently swings, unleashing a brilliant moon arc. Flashes of starry light, the beast is sent flying backward. He vomits blood, his thunderous power shattered completely like a fragile reflection on the water. Nashin looks at his moonlight sword, completely ignoring the crashed, unconscious Wang Guan. He misses his companions, separated by a whole world, like troublemaking Luna. Gentle Ani, the Empress, and elusive Dean, how are they? Across these two vastly different worlds, space and time do not align at all, perhaps. They have already moved on, living wonderful new lives. The entire hall suddenly falls into a deathly silence as everyone there stares completely dumbfounded. A C rank actually thrashing an S rank on the ground. Talk about breaking the system. The crowd suddenly erupts in cheers. C ranks are awesome. Nashin is incredible, and everyone here has truly witnessed history, right in the contestant area. Seo Sajin clenches both of her fists as if pumped with pure adrenaline. In the special area, Professor Yu cannot believe his eyes. That sword strike was definitely a spirit technique. He turns to Nam Gung Jae. You taught him. Nam Gung Jae tells him to stop talking nonsense, seeing it first too. Are spirit techniques really that easy? They require deep, awakened spiritual power. These exam students just awakened. Even learning one combat skill is already the mark of a true genius. Teacher Soren pushes up her glasses. Decisively, she notes that a C rank defeating an S rank must be a genius. Professor Yu strokes his chin triumphantly, boasting about this absolute genius. one who awakened S rank and another who defeated him. Their school will prosper. Teacher Sayam tells him not to get cocky. Nashin is not guaranteed yet. Nothing is set in stone. Teacher Sayam grits her teeth, warning him. Only Heavenly Martial Academy can compete. The remaining 3 schools are inferior. System alerts progress 100%, target achieved, although Nashin used some clever tricks. He ultimately conquered everyone with only a C-rank talent. He avoided being cut as waste. Even a monster S-rank was no match. Nashin has overcome his grim fate, and destiny points are now distributed. His points reach 40. The system voice snaps him out of his memories. If he wins both exams, the total points will rise to 80. He is just 20 points away. Meanwhile, a bitter voice cuts in. Wang Wan has struggled back to his feet, screaming that he is an S-rank. How could he possibly lose to absolute trash? He points at Nashin, enraged. He acts like a madman, unable to accept losing to a C-rank. The humiliation makes him hysterical, screaming for Nashin to stop being so smug. He yells that even with a lucky win, Nashin is still just C-rank. He promises to grow stronger, while Nashin stagnates at the very bottom. Nashin simply smiles and asks if an S-rank is really that amazing. Of course it is. Wang Wan flings his hand, laughing ferociously at him. S-ranks are beings that mediocre trash like him can never hope to reach. He claims Nashin is only fit to look up at them from the very bottom. Is that so? Nashin smiles. Suddenly, a new turning point of destiny is discovered. The gears are turning. The world must look up and feel absolute despair. Goal. Use crushing power to show this S-rank the completely unattainable gap between them. Reward 10 destiny points. Nashin looks at him. Goodbye, strongest. You are merely mortal. An era without him, this four-eyed powerhouse is exactly what he needed right now. He was worrying about those last 20 points, but Wang Wan suddenly hands him 10. Talk about perfect timing. He silently thanks his rival as the objective is met. Now all restrictions are completely gone. Honestly, in his eyes, an S-rank is really nothing special. He calmly brushes some dust off his shoulder. The rival looks completely amused. He almost laughs until his stomach hurts, calling our main character a sore loser. He mockingly calls it sour grapes, but whoever said that our hero does not have it? Our main character sneers, leaving his opponent utterly stunned. No more playing silly riddle games. The stage is set, and it is finally time to give everyone a massive surprise. Exactly, no more pretending, his voice rings out. His words echo to every corner, drawing burning gazes from all directions. He grabs the microphone, announcing his dual talents. Before anyone can process, he explains his first is a C-rank played talent. That easily defeated the S-rank. The other is S-rank itself, he says, raising his hand. Calling upon Ether Dominion, a sharp distortion warps the empty void right before them. A dozen translucent ether swords condense in midair, pointing at him. They shoot forward instantly, embedding themselves all around him in a tight grid, forming a solid crystal prison, leaving his opponent utterly speechless. A heavy silence blankets the crowd before a massive uproar finally erupts. The shocking reveal earns him massive destiny points. The exam concludes, and the news immediately spreads online, triggering a massive uproar. Honestly, nobody expected his reveal to act like a complete depth charge. A dual talent genius, completely done with hiding now. Forums explode, calling him the ultimate academic faker while mocking Wang Wan. However, the intense hype quickly cools down as other geniuses emerge. This has little personal effect on him, but the major academies react. Beating an S-rank with a C-rank only made them consider special recruitment. While C-rank potential is hard to raise, a hidden S-rank changes everything. Having dual talents is an incredible bonus, combining C-rank trickery with S-rank combat. It essentially rounds up to 1.5 S-ranks, driving academies crazy. His phone rings constantly as Imperial Capital announces a special admission quota. Word spreads that he was originally a recommended student, fueling the fire. Everyone expects him to choose Imperial Capital, which seems almost certain. Many first-tier schools back down, leaving only the super-tier academies to compete. Things quiet down. Soon after, he meets teacher Sora inside a quiet cafe. Sipping her coffee, she notes that everyone expects him to choose them. She gives him a meaningful look, asking if he is absolutely sure about it. She assumes he is hesitant, but maybe he just wanted some free food. She plays along, putting down her cup to make her pitch for Dong Sang. She sincerely hopes he will consider Dong Sang over Imperial Capital. Competition there is incredibly fierce this year, with so many super geniuses. They will not focus solely on cultivating him, whereas Dong Sang offers total dedication. They are both super tier, but Dong Sang can match any offer they make. In fact, Dong Sang can provide things Imperial Capital simply cannot. He calmly asks if that includes the legendary powerhouses, leaving her speechless. She smiles brightly, pointing out there is one thing those other schools cannot offer him, patting her chest. She promises that if he joins Dong University, she will personally look after him. He simply questions her offer, prompting a playful tilt of her head. She reminds him that the school will call him for a tripartite meeting soon. She urges Nation to seriously consider Dong University before making his final choice. Seeing him completely unmoved, she sighs and stands up. He watches her leave. Other elite recruiters follow, like Nam Gongjai from Heavenly Marshal and Director Jin. Representatives from Namian and Wang University arrive, all trying to persuade Nation. While they claim Imperial Capital is not the best, the system has already decided for him. On his status panel, a brand new martial arts objective suddenly appears. Once completed, he will finally have enough destiny points for his second roleplay. Goal achieved. While academics has a limit, the system notes martial arts has none. Since he swept first place in both exams, his fate points are now distributed. His points hit 90. Soon, the official results confirm he placed first in both. Before Nation can even celebrate, the Academic Affairs Office calls him in for a joint meeting. This discussion involves him, his high school, and representatives from several universities. At the gate, Jang Hua rushes over to greet him, relieved that Nation finally arrived. When Nation asks why he looks so panicked, Jang Hua mentions the endless phone calls. The teacher is shocked that the kid hid his S rank, awakening this entire time. While Jang Hua worried he would give up, Nation was simply planning a surprise. They enter the reception room, where the principal sits in the center seat. Beside him are 5 university representatives, leaving one empty chair for Nation. The principal clears his throat and congratulates Nation on topping both exams. Having S-rank dual talents is incredibly rare, prompting this meeting with 5 top universities. Asked if he has any questions, Nation looks at the mostly familiar faces. Professor Yu looks confident, while Nam Gongjai flashes a carefree smile. Teacher Soren frantically winks at him, knowing this entire discussion is a formality. Professor Yu confidently claims that Nation's first choice must be Imperial Capital. He boasts that their faculty strength and deep heritage easily rank them number 1. By gathering geniuses from all over, they offer the perfect environment for him to grow. Countless legendary martial artists have graduated from their esteemed academy. Entering is the ultimate express path, though Nam Gongjai silently scoffs at the boast. He sneers that Imperial Capital only has a big name, but lacks real combat power. For a true martial artist, strength is everything, and Heavenly Marshal excels there. The representative from Wang mentions their location near the Western Chasm Mountains. The nearby ruins and secret realms are perfect for transcendentals to gain experience. The old professor speaks calmly, while Namian focuses on international diplomatic ties. Director Jin chips in, highlighting how they broaden a student's global horizons. Dong University offers excellent combat resources and policy benefits. Teacher Soren pushes up her glasses, puffing out her chest proudly. Professor Yu sneers at the others, mocking them for refusing to give up. He tells Nation to state his final choice so everyone else can lose hope. As the others stare intently, Nation smiles and confirms his first choice is Imperial Capital. Since they consistently top the rankings, he had already set his sights there. It is the perfect choice for a guaranteed admission, securing his path to the top. The only choice, Professor Yu looks elated while others sigh. Suddenly, Kyan's tone changes. However, Kyan refuses. What? Professor Yu's expression instantly freezes. The Imperial Capital is infinitely good, but Kyan never goes back on his word and refuses to attend. Do you know what you are saying? He points at Kyan, too angry to speak, claiming that he is making this choice out of pique, telling him to calm down and answer again, but Kyan speaks on behalf of the Imperial Capital, saying his answer will always be a refusal. Do you know how many fight tooth and nail to get in? He was once one of them. We kindly offered special admission, calling him ungrateful, but Kyan simply doesn't plan on choosing the Imperial Capital, asking if there is a problem. The professor snaps, thinking his talent is unrivaled. The Imperial Capital is full of geniuses, many far stronger. They don't lack someone like him. He slams the table and storms out, warning Kyan that he will regret this. Since Kyan has the villain system, he must seek vengeance. They ignored the former him, but the current him is far beyond their reach. Goal: reject the recruitment face-to-face, destroying their reputation. The reward is 10 fate points. Goal achieved. This is the first step in making villainous enemies, drawing the hatred of the Imperial Capital and becoming a thorn in their side. Current fate points 100. The second character portrayal can now be activated. The door slams. Alas, Kyan is far too impulsive. The principal gives a reproving look, after rejecting the Imperial Capital. What is his choice? With his mission achieved, Kyan nods toward Teacher Sorum, asking her to please guide him. Hearing this, she is stunned, then happily raises her hand. But why? Namungjai asks what Dong possesses. Kyan blinks innocently, replying it is simply close to home. The discussion concludes that the Imperial Capital is the biggest loser, making Dong the biggest winner, recruiting a dual S-rank student who stepped all over the Imperial Capital's special recruit. Teacher Sorum wants to treat him to a lavish meal, but he declines, asking for a rain check before rushing home to lie down. A sudden flash of white light. Second character portrayal activates, starting the roleplay. He appears in a dark void with two options. 1. Return to a known world which is locked. 2. Start a new roleplay, requiring 100 destiny points. The first option surprises him. He still has a chance to return and meet old friends, though it is not yet unlocked. He chooses the second option. Destiny points reset to 0. Searching, target world found. Transmigrating, he opens his eyes while sitting cross-legged on a prayer mat in an immortal cave. Pop-up villain role. Nation, divine son of the mystic heaven sect. His objectives: 1. Protect all aspects of the mystic heaven sect. 2. Become the ultimate simp for the saintess Kyan Hyan. 3. Risk his life to stop Yajin, the fated male protagonist. The reward is randomly acquiring a talent of the divine son based on the evaluation system. Can he give up? His heart sinks. To be someone else's simp, he doesn't want that. Giving up exits the roleplay with no rewards, and destiny points are not refunded. Since there are no refunds, he bites the bullet. Fragments of destiny flood his mind. This is a Xuanyuan fantasy world with Yajin as a classic, decisive, and ruthless protagonist, the divine son. Nation. In this world, the divine son Nation is an important stepping stone. Villain on Yajin's path, possessing astonishing talent and transcendent status, having obtained the legacy of Emperor Jichin, surpassing the 7 palaces of Xuanchen with boundless prospects. The sect master proudly declared that Nation has he possessed the legendary potential of a great emperor, yet even this genius fell hard for love. He defied his sect, refusing a marriage alliance with Yachi Holy Land for her. He single-mindedly tried to please her, but she only ever saw him as a brother. Meanwhile, the protagonist, Yejun, rose from nothing. He formed a deep bond with Shionese, eventually winning her heart. Driven by jealousy, Nachuan colluded with dark forces to destroy him. Instead, Yejun grew stronger and inherited the legacy of the great Emperor Ziwei. In his madness, Nachuan made a desperate stand, but Yejun broke through. He killed Nachuan, destroyed the Mystic Heaven sect, and vanished into history. Taking the remaining legacy, Yejun ascended to become a peerless heavenly emperor. Wait, the protagonist gets the perfect cheat code, while Nachuan gets cast as the tragic villain. To make matters worse, his new system objectives completely contradict each other. If he simps for Kinghan, he will trigger a fatal conflict with Yejun. The sect would be destroyed, yet his primary task is to protect it. He decides that saving the sect before his fated death is enough. But things are never that simple, so he decides to forge his own path. He will protect the sect for Kinghan and trade his life to destroy Yejun. But how? First, he opens up his system panel. His stats show unwavering loyalty and a double S-rank divine body talent. He also possesses an S-rank transparent sword heart and early void refinement cultivation. His techniques include an S+ rank codex and an emperor scripture. A massive wave of S-rank abilities and high-tier spiritual skills fill his screen. He even has a double S-rank sword formation and S+ movement techniques. Gazing at this incredibly loaded system screen, he cannot help but gasp. The original Nachuan was clearly a legendary genius born once in 10,000 years. Our main character has never started a journey with such an overpowered setup. Yet, even with all these gifts, he was still destined to fall to Yejun. He must face this destined future emperor. He walks out of his immortal cave, looking at the misty peaks in the distance. Stepping through the void, he quickly makes his way to the Great Hall. As he enters, a gentle voice asks if he has successfully broken through. Bowing respectfully, Nachuan reports that he has indeed achieved a breakthrough. An incredibly beautiful woman in elegant palace robes emerges from behind a screen. Her soft black hair falls like silk to her waist. This is Empress Han. Caught off guard, he stares in a daze, prompting her to ask what is wrong. She tucks her hair back, smiling warmly, as if finding his reaction quite cute. He quickly makes an excuse, claiming his state of mind is currently unstable. In truth, he is thinking about her tragic fate in the original plot. After his death, she would clash with Yejun, leading to her sect's destruction. Her reputation would be ruined, turning her into a feared and hated demoness. Knowing she raised Nachuan like a mother, a lump forms in his throat. She teases him, noting he ran straight here before his power even stabilized. She laughs, joking that his real goal was seeing junior sister Kinghan. He smiles, admitting he wanted to see his junior sister, but missed his master too. She rolls her eyes with a smile, teasing him for becoming quite the smooth talker. Empress Hong tells him to leave, noting that Kyan Han has returned to Kyanxian Palace. She shakes her head with a bitter smile. He sighs softly and walks away. Leaving the Great Hall, his joy vanishes. He really does not want to keep playing the simp. She is not annoying. As children, she and the original host were sweethearts. Innocent and lovable, which is why he was so devoted, but compared to her. Pleasing her, he now prefers spending time with Empress Hong. Kyan Han is the one the original host loved, but Empress Hong actually loves him. Things have come to this, so he must play the simp, and trust me, he is a real pro. The Mystic Heaven sect once produced two great emperors, Gaochen and Ziwei, a top-tier sect on the primordial continent, divided into 9 palaces. Ziwei Palace and Gaochen Palace are the most revered, holding the orthodox legacies of the great emperors. They lacked inheritors for ages until the original host obtained the Gaochen legacy, and Gaochen Palace reappeared after 10,000 years. Below them are the 7 palaces of the Big Dipper, also orthodox, in the era when the great emperor palaces were vacant. The sect was controlled by those 7 palaces, with the sect master selected from among them, the current Sect Master Empress Hong was the previous palace master of Kaiengxian. Palace, with her promotion, the palace master seat remains vacant, awaiting the Kaiengxian saintess. He spent his youth here, and as the divine son with the palace master. Seat vacant, he enters without hindrance, guarding disciples' bow, greeting the divine son. But he quickly tells them that divine son is only what outsiders call him. They are his junior brothers and sisters, so they should call him senior brother. He smiles warmly, feeling close to everyone. The junior disciples greet their great senior brother, bowing again, deeply touched. His reputation among the disciples has slightly increased. What a nice system boost. He glances at the system message, clearing his throat to ask if they know where junior sister Kyan Han is. The saintess has just returned to the backyard garden. Thanking them, he enters eagerly, finding everything very familiar. He quickly arrives at the backyard garden. As expected, under the peach blossom tree by the lotus pond stands a graceful, aloof woman in white robes, slightly furrowing her brows at the fish in the pond. It is the troubled saintess Kyan Han, whom he has been thinking of, asking if she was injured down the mountain. He gazes with concern, lacking his usual carefree demeanor, like a wagging-tailed simp making his act hard to tell apart. She glances indifferently and shakes her head. He asks if she is okay, offering healing holy medicines. He takes out various remedies to hand over, urging her, even if not injured, to keep them for emergencies. She coldly refuses, saying she is fine. Besides, he already gave her many spirit treasures before she went down. It never hurts to be prepared, so he puts them away, gazing at her affectionately. Seeing her lost in thought, he urges her to share any difficulties. She tells him to focus on cultivating and breaking through his nascent soul. Rather than worrying about her, he smiles, explaining that he came precisely because he has successfully broken through to the void refinement realm. Hearing this, her expression changes. She finally looks directly at him, only then does she realize his aura has far surpassed the nascent soul realm. She notes he was in seclusion, teasing that Chan Han was frowning because he could not see her. He jokes, but she claims he is overthinking her. Brows tighten as she turns away, gazing at the fish. She parts her lips to say what she is thinking about is not his brother, but another person. He falls silent, mentioning another man to a simp like him is brutal, but he naturally knows who it is but plays dumb. She describes a rogue cultivator with crude speech. What? His eyes widen. Gritting his teeth, he places his hands on her shoulders, ready to defend her, demanding to know who dared bully his junior sister, Kyan, promising to chop him up, but she breaks free with annoyance, snapping that it has nothing to do with him. Displeasure, insisting she is no child and can handle her own affairs, no matter how much time passes. He says she remains his junior sister. She replies she is not suffering any grievances, but he notes she called his speech crude. It is none of her senior brother's business. She snaps, demanding he stop. She is tired and wants to be alone, coldly dismissing him. He feels her coldness and steps back, apologizing for being far too pushy. If this is what she wishes, he says he will leave, hoping she can be happy, so he promises to return later. He departs filled with sorrow. Only after his Kai has completely faded away does she turn to look at the empty space behind her. A strange feeling arises. Her senior brother has changed. Before, he would always pester her relentlessly, but this time he really left. He departs Cheon Haiyan Palace, greeted by the guards as the divine son. Seeing his low spirits, they dare not neglect him, but he urges them to call him senior brother, forcing a smile. They did well guarding the palace, adding that if they face any cultivation issues, they should visit him at Gan Palace. Without waiting for a response, he returns to Gan Palace, entering his immortal cave with no one around. He finally lets out a deep sigh. That was really exhausting, but his performance seemed convincing enough. That is exactly how a simp behaves. The woman only has to accept without agreeing, while the devoted simp has to consider so much more. Low-level simps only know how to pester people relentlessly. Professional simps must learn to forgive and let go, on his path to becoming the ultimate simp for the Shaohyan Saints. The system praises his progress, asking if he has actually done this before. He realizes he now has official system certification. He smiles wryly. According to fate, the local nation had a powerful urge to control her, always pestering and wanting to monopolize her, but this time he does not plan to repeat those mistakes, wishing to protect everything within the mystic heaven. Sect, of course, that includes her too, since he must eventually fight the fated male protagonist to the death. Why not let go and let his junior sister pursue her own happiness? Empress Yan sweetly praises Tyner for working so hard recently. He replies that it is nothing and simply his duty, since the sect has nurtured him, now that he has broken through to void refinement, meeting the minimum requirements to become an elder. He wants to contribute. Let's look at the cultivation realms. Archai refining, foundation establishment, golden core and nascent soul. Next comes soul transformation, void refinement, body integration, Mahayana and undergoing tribulation. Reaching void refinement marks the entry into master expert level. Mahayana stands as the highest tier here, while undergoing tribulation is the emperor realm. For the past 10,000 years, none in the sect succeeded. Only 3 have reached Mahayana, including Empress Han, Palace Master Tainshu, and Palace Master Kayan. 10 body integration experts protect the sect, and even void refinement is considered elder level. After stabilizing his new realm, Tiana seeks out Empress Han to help manage affairs. From internal affairs to lecturing on Tao and presiding over the grand competition, inspecting the great formation, and even temporarily acting as the sect master. For a few days, from elders to disciples, everyone receives his help. His prestige within the sect grows daily, completely unrivaled, all to complete his task. His goal is protecting the mystic heaven sect, compared to the sect master, who toils day and night. His efforts feel like less than a tenth. He smiles and winks, telling her that since she lacks a close confidant, he wants to ease her burden. He is willing to do anything to help. Empress Han sighs, calling him a silly child. She gently strokes his cheek, noting that Tiana has grown taller than her. Soon, a trace of gloom appears between her brows. She knows he only drowns himself in work because of Kayan Han. She sighs softly. His deep feelings for Kayan Han are no longer secret since childhood, but as time passed, her temperament grew increasingly cold. Still, he remained, never leaving her side, ever since she returned. A new distance grew between them. Rumors say that on her recent trip, she took in interest in an unknown young cultivator, even though Tiana still visits Kayan Han Palace daily. She remains completely unmoved. Disciples whisper privately, not to mock him, but feeling sorry that their senior brother loves someone he cannot have. Many junior sisters who admire him wish they could replace her as the sect master she naturally knows, watching him suffer from love and bury himself in sect affairs to distract himself. She feels deeply distressed. She urges Tiana to let go, saying he and Kayan Han are destined to be mismatched. Tiana does not know how to respond. He is still wholeheartedly devoted to her and cannot deny this, but seeing Empress Han feel pain for him makes him feel guilty. As his feelings overcome cold calculation, he gives a wry smile and decides to tell the truth, admitting she has misunderstood his reasons for sharing sect affairs. He did it for her and the sect, not for Kayan Han. If so, she asks, why is he unwilling to accept the marriage alliance with the Yai Saintess? He grumbles internally because, of course, the system does not allow it. Although the system has 3 main mission objectives, each has corresponding sub-objectives. One rule states that Divine Son Nashin, eternally devoted to the Kayan Han Saintess, and reject the marriage alliance with the Yai Saintess. Success rewards him with an ultimate simp evaluation. Improving his rank to at least B failure drops his rating. He replies helplessly, asking the sect master to forgive him since he loves Kayan. Han, if he were forced into a marriage alliance with the Yai Saintess, he fears he would fail to make her happy and only end up hurting her. And this is true. The Yai Saintess is a peerless beauty with extraordinary talent, hailed alongside Kai and Han as the twin immortals of the Mystic Gate. Despite having countless suitors in her destined path, she remains solely devoted to the Tao, never mincing words, even when facing the heavenly god Yin. Empress Han sighs, asking if he will refuse her, but Tiana respectfully declines. This is a rare moment of disobedience. Even the revered and beloved Empress Han cannot shake his devotion to the Kaiyan Han Saintess. An S-rank evaluation pops up, but the system's mocking tone makes Tian's blood boil. He silently grits his teeth, realizing he has to cut this digital conversation short. Arguing any further will make him explode, so he quickly changes the subject. He tells the sect master he came because the divine ruined secret realm is opening. Tian volunteers to act as a guardian, leading the disciples to safety inside. This ensures their safety while gaining experience, but according to the original plot, the Divine Son makes his first appearance in this realm as the next major enemy of Yajin. There, he would witness the close entanglement of Kaiyan, Hyan and Yajin, triggering an angry attack that only ends in his humiliation. This disgrace would spark a deep grudge, but he's not about to play along with fate. Sacrificing himself this time, he genuinely wants to protect his junior sect members. In the original plot, the disciples are ambushed and completely wiped out. Only Kaiyan Hyan survives, saved by Yajin. The Empress warns him about guarding the path for Kaiyan Hyan, fearing she might dislike his presence. Empress Hyan shakes her head. Tian notes that Kaiyan Hyan is on the list, making his protective intentions obvious. He gently holds the sect master's soft hand, pleading for her trust. He looks at her sincerely, admitting his love for Kaiyan while prioritizing everyone's safety. He wants to keep all his fellow disciples safe. Hearing this, she is deeply moved. Her heart softens. She relents, telling Tian he may go. She warns him to be extremely careful and always prioritize the sect's safety. Tian bows, promising the sect master he will fulfill his duty. She covers her mouth and chuckles softly at his formal display of respect. Her eyes are full of doting affection, praising him for being so obedient. With her permission secured, his journey to the divine ruined secret realm is set. He spends the next month preparing diligently for the grand opening of the realm. When the gates finally open, Tian arrives at the Mountain Gate Square. A massive crowd of eager disciples has already gathered for the trial. They call out to him with respect, excited to see their legendary senior brother. They greet him with pure excitement, talk about a complete reputation glow-up. Tian has become the most respected and admired figure in the entire sect. Even the elite geniuses of the 7 palaces are thoroughly impressed by him. He responds to each of his juniors with a polite and friendly smile. Scanning the crowd, he notices one junior sister standing at the very front. She looks cold and completely indifferent. It is junior sister Kaiyan Hyan. Tian offers her a polite smile before addressing the entire gathered crowd. He reminds them that the sect master appointed him as their official guardian. He will guide them aboard the massive spirit boat directly to the realm. The divine ruined secret realm lies hidden deep within the eastern region. It only opens once every 100 years on this ancient continent. Legend says these are the ruins of an ancient, destroyed immortal sect. Countless opportunities and ancient weapons are waiting to be uncovered. Many grand formations and powerful ancient restrictions are still highly active. Because of this, only cultivators at the soul transformation stage, or below, can enter. Anyone above the nascent soul stage faces immense danger. Those in the void refining stage can barely even touch the outer borders. Cultivators at the integration or Mahayana stage would prematurely trigger deadly heavenly tribulation. That is why he was sent as their void refining guardian. He tells his juniors to report any troubles immediately. He will risk his own life to ensure their safety. With no questions, it is time to move. He summons their spirit boat. It expands, everyone boards, and he steers it through the void. The ship becomes a streak of light, covering 100,000 miles in an instant. As the light fades, a dense ancient aura greets them. A mysterious mountain range, shrouded in thick, immortal energy, rises before them. It looks close yet feels eras away. This is the divine ruin. He guides everyone to the entrance, already crowded with vibrant banners. A sea of people from different sects and rogue cultivators has gathered. Suddenly, a clear voice asks why Mystic Heaven arrived so late. He turns and recognizes the crest on the other party's vessel. It belongs to their close allies from the esteemed creation Holy Land. He offers a warm, polite smile out of the major forces. Yachi Holy Land and Creation Holy Land are their best friends. The guardian of creation Holy Land is astonished by his youth. He praises the young man for reaching void refining at his age. He adds that Empress Hyan's high praises were absolutely true. The divine son truly has the potential of a great emperor. He bows modestly, telling the senior that he is overpraising him. The old master warmly invites him to visit their holy land often. As they chat, another massive vessel arrives. It is Yachi. Since this realm only opens once a century, nobody would miss it. An elderly female guardian steps off the ship with a pleasant smile. Her unique holy land is known for only accepting female disciples. She glances at him briefly, her eyes instantly lighting up. She admits she never expected Mystic Heaven to send their divine son. She sighs with deep regret, repeatedly muttering what a pity it is. If their saintess knew he was here, she would have rushed over. She clearly knows about their highly anticipated marriage alliance. While waiting for the gates to open, the three groups chat. They agree to have their disciples watch each other's backs. In the original timeline, his mind was completely focused on Kai and Hyan. He never formed this alliance, leaving them with no backup. He returns to his vessel and briefs his juniors on it. Now it is time to make the absolute final arrangements. He hands a protective white jade plaque to the Kai and Hyan saintess. She frowns slightly and flatly refuses to accept the gift. She questions why he bothers trying so hard for her anyway. He gently replies that she misunderstands, as he simply cares for her safety. Besides, this protection is meant for their entire sect, not just her. According to his special manual, maintaining a respectful distance is key. With a calm smile, he starts performing a complex hand seal. Streaks of white light shoot out from his spatial ring, landing right in the hands of the other juniors. These are Divine Heaven talismans he made, containing his own Divine Heaven spells. They can bind them with a drop of blood if they encounter danger. The spells within might help them. The juniors' eyes fill with wonder. This is actually true spirit ancient jade. Their senior brother is incredibly generous. Thunder. Summoning, wind control, protection, exorcism, so many spells, it even protects its master automatically. She loves her senior brother the absolute most. The youngest, the Yao Guang saint, directly hugs his arm. He tells her not to hurry as he's not finished yet. He gently pulls her away with a smile. The talismans themselves also have storage functions, packed with rare spirit medicines and treasures. Use them when needed. If they encounter a life or death crisis, they must open the pouch inside. It contains a way out. Remember, opportunities cannot be forced. He warns them never to sacrifice their lives or fellow disciples for a momentary opportunity, but do not fear trouble either, their senior brother. And the sect will always be their strongest support. Finally, everyone must follow junior brother Tianshu's command. He looks over at the young man in black at the front. Tianshu tells him not to worry and promises to take good care of their junior brothers and sisters. The Tianshu saint says this with rare seriousness while the other juniors nod in agreement. The Kaian saint glances at her white jade plaque, then at him. She wonders if he prepared talismans for the others just so she would accept hers. In the end, she tucks it into her robes. Just like that, the earth trembles as ripples wave in the void. The secret realm is finally opening. Countless powerful sect disciples and loose cultivators instantly rush toward the entrance, led by the Tianshu saint. The group from the Mystic Heaven sect enters too. He watches as everyone disappears into the entrance. He has done everything he possibly can. Now it is up to the Junior's own luck. Since he cannot directly interfere with matters inside, all he can do now is trust they will return safely. During this waiting period, it is time to prepare for the final showdown in advance. There will eventually be a brutal clash between him and Ijun if he does not make changes and relies solely on the legacy of Great Emperor Genin. The Divine Son will eventually become nothing more than a mere stepping stone on Ijun's path. Everything in the Mystic Heaven sect would be completely wiped out. Although the final battle is still far off, he has to take action right now. Putting away his spirit boat, his figure flashes and he vanishes. He stands high in the sky, overlooking the entire mountain range with the divine ruins. Secret realm fully in sight. As the realm opens, the swirling immortal Kai gradually evaporates. The encircling energy is like a reddish yellow curtain shrouding Shang Shu, extending in all directions like 4 giant wings. This is the true face of the Divine Ruins secret realm. He is only able to discern its mysteries from fragments of fate. The realm can hide within space, completely untouched even by Mahayana cultivators. Its origin was not in the sect protecting formation, but rather in the mountain protecting divine beast. He sees before him an ancient divine beast with a crimson body, 4 wings, and 6 legs, Daijang. Of course not the true Daijang, merely a divine beast possessing the Daijang bloodline. Daijang controlled the power of space. Before its death, it swallowed the beast swallowed the entire Shenshu, forming this secret realm. It opens once every 100 years only to reabsorb spiritual qi, maintaining its residual spatial power. This is his biggest goal for this trip. The physical body of the Jiang divine beast has achieved emperorship, making it hard to shake with just void refining cultivation. However, he does not need its corpse, only a trace of its bloodline and spatial power. He performs Shanti in void treading steps. Arriving at a nearby peak, he raises his hand and 36 flying swords fly out from his storage ring, hanging in the void realm. Heavenly lock sword formation. With a sharp pinch of his sword finger, the blades scatter like stars, their light reflecting each other to form a sword formation that seals heaven and earth. Once done, he sits cross-legged on a giant rock at the peak, gazing at the dying phantom shrouded in immortal qi. He projects what he sees into his primordial spirit, contemplating heaven and earth. After an unknown period, a tremor in his heart awakens him from epiphany. He opens his eyes, retrieving a divine heaven talisman, which is emitting a faint white light. Indeed, as per predetermined fate, a life and death crisis has occurred. The disciples of the Mystic Heaven sect were teleported to different corners as soon as they entered. Fortunately, the talisman has voice transmission and positioning, so everyone quickly contacted each other. Due to the realm's vastness, the Tianu Saint instructed everyone to travel with the nearest fellow disciples seeking opportunity, then rendezvous at the great hall in the center. However, when everyone successfully met up and explored the core area, everything went completely wrong. Who triggered the trap? Nobody knows, but suddenly, endless devilish qi surged from underground, sealing the entire core area. Innumerable evil devils gnawed their way toward the cultivators. Screams echoed all around. Many rogue cultivators were devoured before they could resist. Not good. This is the soul-devouring demonic path, soul-devouring demon formation. The Tianu Saint recognized the trick and quickly gathered junior brothers and sisters. Fortunately, there were also disciples from Yai and Creation Holy Land sharing the pressure. With 3 parties cooperating, no casualties occurred, but as time passed, more cultivators died, and the demon formation grew stronger. Finally, evil devils with soul. Transformation, perfection, cultivation were born. Everyone's expressions became extremely grim. Only the Tiano saint had reached soul transformation perfection. Some, like young saintess, only had a nascent soul. Tianu alone could not protect all. The sect teleportation talismans had also lost function due to the spatial ban. All of you shall become this venerable one's nourishment, a sinister voice echoed. What kind of demon? Come out openly if you have the guts. As soon as the voice fell, the surrounding devilish chi condensed into a grotesque demonic shadow. Openly, what a joke, if you greedy lot hadn't coveted the spirit treasure in the hall and stolen it, this venerable one would not be here. The shadow laughs wildly. To repay you, this venerable one will be magnanimous and take you into the myriad soul banner, enslaving you for all eternity. Shadow began to manipulate the netherworld evil devils. While harvesting souls of the remaining cultivators, it concentrated power on the Mystic Heaven sect, and two holy lands faced a grim devil at soul transformation peak cornered the Tianu saint, while other devils reached out their demonic claws toward the weaker disciples. Just as everyone was about to face total doom, a brilliant sword light flashed. The Kayan saintess unleashed the secret art of Kayan Palace, single-handedly blocking nearly half, but as more swarmed forward, her strength began to fade. Your cultivation is decent, but unfortunately, your realm is still too low. The shadow sneered, summoning a beast to ambush her from the side. Die, she was too slow. Watch out, a cold voice shouted from a corner of the formation, and a sharp cry from another direction. 9. Heavens responding to thunder, the heavenly venerate strikes. With a crack, a purple lightning bolt crashed down from the sky, striking the devil's body. The devil exploded into dust. She was stunned, and the other disciples were dumbfounded. The figure rushing out from the corner suddenly stopped. Even the shadow stood frozen, staring in utter disbelief. Purple heaven divine thunder, why on earth would that legendary power appear here? Purple heaven divine thunder was the ultimate bane of evil, far beyond any ordinary spell. Even in the ancient era, only a rare few could ever summon it. It was reserved for geniuses, and among those present, there were simply no masters of lightning here. Suddenly, a voice called out again. Yao Guang saintess excitedly held up a white jade talisman. Remember the divine heaven talisman senior brother gave us. It holds his thunder summoning ability. The other disciples suddenly realized the truth and grabbed their talismans, but the Yai and creation disciples looked completely confused. So it's just a talisman, the shadow mocked. He cackled, boasting that his devils were endless. How many times could a mere paper scrap unleash that divine lightning? This quickly reminded the Tiano saint. He grabbed his own talisman and messaged his martial siblings right away. That demon is right, our thunder is limited, we must conserve them. 108 thunders. His voice abruptly stopped. The talisman actually contained 108 strikes, each capable of killing an evil devil at soul transformation. Talk about a massive cheat code. No wonder they used true spirit ancient jade to craft these. But what was senior brother thinking, packing so much divine lightning into a single jade? The Tiano saint could not understand it. Meanwhile, the Yao Guang saintess had already rallied her companions with a confident smile, preparing to summon thunder upon the demonic shadow. You fools, let's see you break my myriad devil nether. Assault, the shadow roared, gathering all his evil forces. Together, horrific wails echoed around, shaking everyone to their very souls. Go to hell, he screamed, thrusting his hands forward, all vengeful. Spirits surged forward like a tidal wave. The Yai and creation disciples were on the brink of despair, but the Mystic Heaven sect disciples simply held their talismans and chanted in unison, 9 heavens responding to thunder. The heavenly venerate strikes. In an instant, hundreds of purple heaven thunders crashed down. Blinding purple light shattered the earth. Loud explosions completely drowned out the howls of the evil devils at the entrance of the divine ruin. Inside, everyone felt strange, ominous fluctuations pulsing. Something was wrong. The creation Holy Land Guardian pinched his fingers in calculation. His brow furrowed, a sign of misfortune. How could a wisp of fiendish chi still be lingering inside? Alone, he could not bear it, so he warned the Yachai Guardian. After listening, the old woman also realized things were looking bad. She had previously consulted archives. This divine secret realm was once an ancient school with a massive pagoda built to seal away fiends. If, as fellow Taoists suspected, an ancient fiend had survived and broken free, the consequences would be catastrophic. The other two holy lands and limitless sword sect had already arrived. They must be warned. The three sects and four holy lands had their rivalries, but stood as reputable orthodox schools against the 8 demonic gates. They had to unite, but where was the Notion Saint? They realized the mystic heaven sect flying boat had left, and he was nowhere to be found. But right then, a subtle ripple appeared. The young saint stepped out from the void, appearing beside the two. His aura seemed weak. Had he encountered trouble? The two guardians noticed his poor condition. It is nothing serious, the saint reassured them, having investigated unusual movements, but returned empty-handed since it was fruitless. Of course, that was an excuse. Having contemplated Dai Jiang's form and comprehended the laws of space, he had noticed a talisman anomaly. He had rushed into Shangshu, endured brutal trials, and successfully seized a trace of Dai Jiang's essence blood with no time to recover. Saint, you came just in time, they said. An ominous wisp of fiendish chi has appeared. We must plan. The three headed straight toward the limitless sword sect camp, even though they and the Saint sect were bitter rivals with ancient fiends involved. They dared not be careless. Soon, representatives from both the Great Void, Holy Land, and Wying Holy Land arrived, except for Eel Immortal Sect, who remained elusive. Never showing their full face, the 3 sects and 4 holy lands were all assembled. The situation inside is unknown, so we cannot enter. Let's wait at the entrance. The saint spoke first. Elder Jiam of Limitless Sword Sect snorted coldly, mocking him for being so young and timid, doubting Empress Han's praise. Cultivators must act in a heaven-defying manner, the elder scoffed. Since fiends cause chaos, we should pool our strength and force our way in, so we can all attack together and get blasted by the backlash. The saint countered sharply. He could accept insults aimed at himself, but he refused to tolerate anyone disrespecting Empress Han. Jiam sneered. Without trying, how will we know? Fine, attack, but do not blame me. 6 void refinement experts struck simultaneously, unleashing their ultimate techniques at the seal. The surrounding cultivators watched, deeply shaken. Even a body integration master would hesitate, yet this terrifying might slammed against the entrance was like a clay ox entering the sea only, causing only a ripple before an even deadlier backlash exploded outward. The 6 experts and nearby onlookers were sent flying. The saint had anticipated this. He is mostly unharmed, while others suffer internal injuries, some weaker. Cultivators are shaken to death, with minimal casualties thanks to his warning. Therefore, he insists they still guard the entrance. If any fiend escapes, they will slay it on the spot. The injured Elder Gam is speechless, while others admire his foresight. His quick thinking forms a stark contrast with Elder Gam's lack of flexibility. His righteous words earn the trust of major schools and rogue cultivators, slightly increasing his prestige in the martial world. His rating as the saint protecting the Mystic Heaven sect has increased. Everyone honestly follows his suggestion surrounding the entrance. As time passes, the entrance sees disciples walking out one after another. Judging by the reported information, the situation inside the secret realm is indeed not optimistic. A devil appeared in the core area, spreading evil energy. Many cultivators died, demonic shadows flickered, and their survival remained unknown. His Heart tightens in his fragments of destiny. He only knew fiends would appear, not the details, since he never entered the secret realm himself. He only knew the teleportation talismans failed, and the disciples were almost wiped out, so he desperately created talismans filled with purple heaven. Divine thunder to ward off evil. His strength was limited, only fitting 108 streaks. He wonders if that will be enough. Look, they are emerging. The creation guardian exclaims as a large group of cultivators rushes out from the void realm. Ripples, looking absolutely thrilled to have survived, and who could blame them? The disciples of creation and Yachi appear, their expressions complicated. Finally, the mystic heaven junior brothers and sisters appear, seeing everyone is safe. The worry in his heart lifts. According to predetermined destiny, the fiends would chase them out, slain jointly by the 3 sects and 4 Holy Land's guardians, yet the entrance shows no signs of abnormality. The senior brother, shouted the youngest Yachi saintess as she streaks forward into his embrace, hugging him tightly and burying her head in his chest. Was she scared? She only recently became a saintess, living in Yachi Palace since her youth. This is her first descent. In the original destiny, she perished on this first trial, a great tragedy, and his lifelong heart demon. There, do not fear. He comforts her, gently stroking the Yachi saintess' small head. Seeing her senior brother, she is not scared anymore. She suddenly looks up with a radiant smile. The purple heaven divine thunder was so much fun, she says, wanting to play again. Demons, fiends, and ghosts were all blasted away. The 6 divine generals smashed them flat. That demonic shadow looked powerful, but everyone blasted it with purple heaven divine thunder, frightening its soul into flying away. Other fiends ran as soon as they saw them, not even letting them blast them. What a shame. Was his junior sister really this violent? Talk about worrying for nothing. He plans to ask the Tiam saintess for details, but as soon as he looks up, the 2 figures at the end of the procession catch his eye completely. The Kayan Hyan saintess walks alone at the very back. Beside her, a strange young man. He notices his gaze and looks over. Their eyes meet. In that instant, although first meeting, he immediately recognizes the fated male protagonist, Yin. This is the scene of their first meeting, when the mystic heaven sect was almost wiped. Only Kayan Hyan escaped, all thanks to Yajin. Meanwhile, the divine son grieved. His jealousy and hatred finally erupted over the deaths of his junior disciples. She was with another man. This triggered the classic jealous simp trope. He challenged the protagonist to a same-realm duel and got absolutely destroyed. Kayan Hyan blocked his final, desperate strike. Talk about peak humiliation. Returning to the present, his next objective is guarding the divine ruins. There he must clash with Yajin over Kayan Hyan. Huge rewards await. They include boosting his ultimate simp evaluation and risk-taking rating. Failing penalizes both. The system demands he replicate the original plot. Even a simp needs technique. Seriously, his commitment to the act is wild. Rigid acting is boring. True performance must transcend the script itself. Who is he? His voice turns incredibly cold as he narrows his eyes. He glares at Kayan Hyan, who silently meets his gaze. The Tainchu saint senses the tense atmosphere and steps forward to Bo, introducing him as Yajin. This is Yajin, a loose cultivator who helped battle secret realm fiends. She explains how they met in the core zone when the fiends broke their ancient seal, unleashing a devastating, soul-devouring demonic array. They fought using purple heaven divine thunder until Yajin suddenly appeared. He helped block the fiends, staying with them until escape. He smiles, intrigued. The ancient fiends broke free and slaughtered nearly every single loose cultivator present. Yet this Yajin miraculously evaded danger and showed up at the perfect moment. Is that not too convenient? Yajin frowns, stepping forward to ask. Do I need to spell it out? His gaze turns deep and cold. He accuses Yajin of triggering the seal's release inside the secret realm. He suspects Yajin hid in the shadows, waiting for a chance to escape. Although this accusation is not part of predetermined fate, it is not unfounded. After all, those favored by destiny are always magnets for trouble. Yejin is notoriously decisive and ruthless, completely unbothered by others' suffering. Why would the lives of strangers matter to him? This accusation seizes moral high ground. The surrounding crowd quickly gathers to whisper and watch the drama unfold. They gossip that if the Xuantian divine son says so, it must be true. Anger spreads as some blame him for their losses, putting immense pressure on Yejin. Under heavy scrutiny, Yejin realizes that a determined accuser will always find a charge. He speaks up, "I act openly, and these baseless claims are nothing but slander." He explains he only helped out of past acquaintance with Kyan Hyan. He insists he never coveted anything from the mystic heaven sect. Slandering an innocent helper only ruins the Xuantian divine son's reputation. If his presence near the holy maiden causes offense, he will simply leave. As he turns to depart, the divine son calls out, "Wait a moment." Yejin turns back in anger, demanding to know if he is being stopped. The divine son replies that his actions are for justice, not personal jealousy. He seeks answers for his fallen sect members and other deceased cultivators. Though his intuition points to Yejin, he admits he lacks concrete proof. Out of respect for his help earlier, he decides to let him go. But first, he warns that his feelings for Kyan Hyan are far from shallow. He claims he only wants her happiness, something Yejin can never provide, looking down on him. He doesn't even try to hide his hostility. Yejin's expression turns completely ugly. Fingernails digging into his palms, Yejin asks if Tiana dares to fight on equal terms. Why lower himself? He tells Yejin to reach void refining first. If Yejin still wants a fight, then so be it. Yejin accepts, nods to Cheyenne Hyan, and storms off while nearby cultivators voice their outrage on Tiana's behalf. He politely thanks them, stating that this is strictly between himself and Yejin. Honestly, if the system hadn't stopped him, Tiana would have gladly slapped that protagonist to death. Just to be done with it, after all, without the protagonist around. No protagonist, no show, he succeeded anyway. This works perfectly, taking the moral high ground and raising the righteous banner. While admitting his feelings, he successfully made an enemy of Yejin while gaining massive prestige, though rumors still claim he harbors jealousy over Cheyenne Hyan. People also view him as open and honorable. His devotion to Cheyenne Hyan is now known to all, boosting his protection rating. His ultimate simp rating rises as they disperse. Leaving last, the Yachi Guardian offers him some parting advice. He suggests Tiana consider becoming Dao companions with their famously beautiful saintess. Acknowledging her immortal beauty, Tiana declines, stating his heart belongs to another. Fearing he would only disappoint her, he declines and summons his flying ship. He leads his fellow disciples back on their way, finally catching a quiet moment alone with Cheyenne Hyan. She tells him he went too far, arguing Yejin is just a rogue cultivator. Asking why he must pressure him, Tiana simply answers that it is because he loves her. He gazes warmly, but she begs him to stop if he truly loves her. Tiana asks if she likes Yejin, but she counters, questioning his own Yachi marriage plans. That is why he declined. As she falls silent, Tiana sighs. Knowing her heart is not with him, he harbors no false hopes of her affection. If she finds a suitable partner, he will let go, but Yejin is the sole exception. He is the senior brother who loves her most, and the proud Xuantian divine son. Looking seriously, he vows to protect everything in the mystic heaven sect, including the sect master, his fellow disciples, and her. He warns that Yejin will destroy everything and cannot be allowed near her. Even if it costs him his life, Tiana safely returns with his fellow disciples. Despite the ancient demon, everyone returns safely. They return to cultivate, while Tiana reports the unexpected demon to Empress Shan. He promises to personally investigate, prompting her to gaze at him with deep gratification. Praising him, she notes the mystic heaven sect was saved from complete chaos. Unharmed thanks to him, admitting she once thought he only cared for Cheyenne Hyen. Realizing she had misunderstood, she stands to apologize. But Tiana quickly stops her, insisting he was simply doing his duty. Furthermore, he admits that he also acted out of selfish motives. She asks if he means Yajin, reminding him their sect leads the righteous path. Even if he had selfish motives, his handling of the situation was absolutely correct. He maintained their dignity and befriended major sects, leaving absolutely no room for blame. There is no reason to blame him, though Tiana insists his main goal was Cheyenne Hyen. He spoke to Empress Han honestly, refusing to deceive her. He only worked hard out of respect for the sect master. Protecting his junior brothers and sisters was more than enough. Empress Han nods, saying no other elder would have done so well. His clash with Elder Jian was trivial, though perhaps a slight oversight. He could never allow anyone to slander her lifelong reputation, ever. Deep down, Elder Jian's words remind him of her tragic fate. Thinking of her eventual ruined reputation only fuels his pent-up frustration. Empress Han laughs, teasing him about how eloquent he has become. The sect master knows his heart is clear, devoted fully to Cheyenne Han. He remains filled with nothing but absolute gratitude and reverence for her. She smiles softly, tucking a stray lock of hair behind her ear. Even Empress Han finds it hard to resist his direct approach. Her favor spikes, giving his protection evaluation a sudden boost. Everything returns to normal, and he enters seclusion to comprehend spatial power. He visualizes the great Dijiang, absorbing its immense and mysterious energy. Emerging later, he pays respects to Empress Han and visits Cheyenne Han. The only change is his fellow junior disciples are interacting with him constantly. Especially young Yang, who runs over to cling directly to his arm. She begs him to play, while Tianshu Saint occasionally invites him out. Still, Cheyenne Han remains lukewarm. Undeterred, he delivers a grand sermon. His reputation reaches a brand new peak among all the disciples. Maxing his standing triggers another major boost to his protection evaluation. His rating relies on the disciples, sect elders, and the wider Jianghu. Securing all three categories will earn him an absolute S-rank evaluation. He intends to win over the 7 palace masters and Empress Han next. Maintaining his progress is easy, but Jianghu requires intervening in key plot events. Although it is too early for that, plans never keep up with changes. On this day, the prestigious Yachi Holy Land suddenly sends an envoy. Summoned by Empress Han, he immediately makes his way to the main hall. He politely asks why the sect master has called him here today. Empress Han gestures him forward, introducing the elderly woman beside her, Elder Dang Yu. He bows respectfully, but she warmly tells the Divine Son there is no need. She explains that the sacred flat peach tree of Yachi has finally borne fruit. They are hosting a grand immortal peach banquet for all their powerful allies. Having met him in the divine ruin, she volunteered as the envoy. He realizes this legendary banquet is scheduled much earlier than in the past. Empress Han smiles, confirming that it is indeed ahead of schedule. He gets an immediate headache, knowing the event belonged to next year. That was when the fated protagonist would sneak in and steal the spotlight. He was destined to lose face out of jealousy, but now everything is ruined. Elder Dang Yu hands over the invitation, asking them to kindly accept. Seeing Empress Han accept, the envoy looks at him with deep meaning. She reveals the Yachi Saintess specifically requested the Divine Son as a guest. The Saintess wants to see him, throwing a massive wildcard into his future plans. Everything deviates from the established fate. In the original plot, their only connection was the nominal marriage alliance. Even at the banquet, they had no real interaction. His heart was entirely set on Cheyenne Hyen. This divine son holds the potential of a great emperor, showing brilliant power in the secret realm. Now, the Saintess has a fated connection with him, Reflecting on it, she must thank him and the mystic. Heaven's sect, without his protective talismans and elite disciples, the Yachi disciples would have suffered heavy casualties. It was all thanks to Tiana. Empress Han simply smiles. Their sects are bound by shared interests, making gratitude unnecessary. After exchanging formal pleasantries, Elder Dang Yu bids farewell. As for his own wishes, Empress Han expects him to attend, and the system has issued a mission. What choice does he have? He congratulates Kaiyan Yan on perfecting her nascent soul. He refined Shen Zio spirit pills to help stabilize her realm. Senior brother, she says. Instead of visiting me daily, you should focus on the Yachi Saintess. Her voice is flat. He senses something is wrong. Her cold demeanor remains unchanged. Like an untainted, peerless fairy drifting through the desolate ancient world. And yet, her freezing aura and thorny words suggest trouble. Her inherited palace legacy does not require severing all emotion. Did a mishap occur during her cultivation? Ever since her nascent soul reached perfection, her temperament has grown increasingly detached. Fearing a heart demon, he reaches out to grab her hand. Her reaction is surprisingly intense as she jerks her slender hand back, cracking her mask of absolute calm. Senior brother, you have crossed the line, she warns, visibly annoyed. He pulls his hand back, offering a soft, apologetic smile. But he has no regrets. As her senior, he must look out for her. If she prefers distance, she can consult the sect master, but she must guard against cultivation. Deviation, senior brother, you are overthinking, she answers coolly. My cultivation is fine, but he insists she has grown far more distant, worrying. She might lose herself. I am perfectly normal. This is just your wild imagination, she responds. He studies her blank gaze, unable to read a thing. He promises to stand by her side through any future troubles. Save those words for the Yachi Saintess, she retorts. He merely chuckles, admitting he already reassured the sect master and little Yang. He will see about the Saintess. Once they actually meet, he knows smothering her with care only adds pressure. She is aloof by nature, yet far from ungrateful. Still, constant worry overburdens her. Burden, introducing others, proves he treats everyone equally, easing her pressure. This relieves her silent anxiety. After a long pause, she speaks of the upcoming Yachi banquet, noting that the Saintess sent a personal invitation to him. He is quite surprised she knows. He never mentioned the personal invite to anyone, meaning she heard through other channels. Still, he reassures her gently. Only she holds his heart. Suddenly, she volunteers to go along with little Yang. This catches him off guard. In the original plot, he forced her along. This time he said nothing. Why the sudden change of heart? Is this destiny correcting itself, or does she know Yajun is sneaking in? Are you worried I will ruin your potential alliance? She asks mockingly. He quickly objects, insisting they travel together. A few days later, the grand banquet commences, with Mystic Heaven sect sending Palace Master Tianji to represent them. Leading him, Kaiyan Han and Yao Guang. Tianji is a slick-looking fat man who has always managed the Mystic Heaven sect's external affairs. As for their accompanying saints and saintesses, 5 of the 7 remain back, excluding Kaiyan Han. And Yao Guang, Yu Heng is in seclusion, seeking a void refinement. Breakthrough, while Tiangshuan prefers staying shut-in. Kaiyang is a battle fanatic who loves challenging powerhouse opponents, so his master never dares let him out. Originally, Tiangshuan and Yao Guang were selected, but once Tiangshuan heard Kaiyan Han was going, he yielded his spot, fearing she might change her mind. Senior brother, what do you think the flat peach tastes like? Yao Guang shakes his arm. Her eyes wide with wonder. Ever since they set off, she has been pestering him, bombarding him with endless questions like a curious child. He has no idea either. These rare peaches only ripen once every 60 years, and the last feast was decades ago. Long before he was even born, he asks Tianji, who surely attended last time. The elder had been waiting for this exact question. He proudly rubs his Rotund belly, vividly bragging about the legendary feast as Yao Guang listens. Completely spellbound, that is why this banquet is an absolute must-attend event. And the peach a must-taste. She claps, while Tianji boasts with his chin held high. Then Yao Guang looks up at him, thanking her senior brother. Tianji freezes, muttering a confused welcome as he gently pats her head. Meanwhile, Cayenne Han watches the lively bunch with a deep frown. Tianji looks around. Laughing slyly, he pats the young man's shoulder, warning him to cherish the present and prepare for the mountain of trouble that awaits him in the near future. The Yachi Holy Land rests on Mount Yujing, far to the west, named after ancient mythical pools. From afar, sacred energy rises into a magnificent misty haze. Surrounding majestic palaces, it is a true paradise. Upon entering, countless distinguished guests pack the hall, including the 3 sects, 4 holy lands, and renowned Orthodox factions from across the realm, alongside legendary rouge cultivation masters. Welcoming disciples bow respectfully, guiding the mystic heaven sect toward the main hall. As they enter, Tianji steps up to handle the formal, exhausting social greetings. Saving the disciples any unnecessary hassle, he tells the juniors to enjoy themselves. While he handles the rest, he then departs with the local disciples. But do not be fooled, this grand feast is merely a glittering cover. Behind closed doors, the sect leaders will discuss heavy, realm-altering alliances. That is why Tianji handles the politics. Yao Guang whispers, asking what they should do. Tugging his sleeve, he smiles, suggesting a stroll if she feels bored. He glances at Cayenne Han, knowing she prefers quiet, and invites her along. She softly thanks him for the offer, but gets up to walk alone. Yao Guang pouts at how cold she is, but quickly forgets her annoyance and pulls his arm, suggesting they go together. He happily agrees to accompany her. He lets her drag him away, scanning the crowd for Yao Jin. Nearby, Cayenne Han walks alone along the covered corridors of the Yachi Holy Land, radiating a frosty distance. Yet her ethereal beauty turns every head, drawing in ambitious young cultivators who yearn to ask for her name, but she is thoroughly used to this attention. Whenever someone dares to pester her, she merely nods coldly before walking away. Unknowingly, her quiet footsteps lead her to a secluded corner, right by them. Leaning on the railing, she gazes into the misty valley, wondering why she even came. With her cold nature, she shouldn't be here, yet she followed. She followed her senior brother here, her mind racing with Nashin's warning. She once dismissed Qi deviation as pure nonsense, but now she feels uncertain. Ever since they returned from the divine-ruined secret realm, things felt strange. A subtle strangeness lingered. It wasn't a heart demon, yet she couldn't understand. With a quiet sigh, she realizes they have both changed so much. Her senior brother used to fuss over her constantly, never leaving her side. Back then she found it unbearable, but his current self is entirely different. He still cares but no longer pesters her, proactively leaving when she resists. Since reaching the void refinement stage, he has completely focused on sect duties. He handles major affairs, sharing the heavy workload of their sect master. He guides the younger disciples and always prioritizes the greater good. Even during the secret realm trials, his selfless actions were fully apparent. Fellow disciples whispered that her cold indifference had broken his spirit. He had thrown himself into sect work out of sheer heartbreak. She places a hand over her heart. You can feel her quiet, aching confusion. She hates this strange feeling. Though quiet, she isn't entirely heartless. Deep down, she always valued her senior brother's constant warmth. Even if she never showed it, she refuses to let herself ruin him. She hates seeing him lose himself, damaging his own Tao heart. He shouldn't stagnate. Her senior brother simply needs to be himself again. There is absolutely no reason for him to change, just for her sake. Finally, she understands. It is guilt. Just as he cared, she cares too. She refuses to let him be pestered by Yao Guang or pushed around. She won't see him forced into a marriage with Yao Guang for the sect. That is why she came, Clenching her fist, she decides to take action. She must help him. Suddenly, a system alert chimes, indicating a destiny shift. The gears of fate are turning. He stares at the system alert, completely baffled. He was only taking a stroll with Yao Guang. How did this happen? Yao Guang asks if something is wrong. Nothing, he assures her quickly. He claims he was only wondering where Chan Han was and how she felt. He must maintain his act. Look at how instantly Yao Guang pouts at that name. She complains that his heart is with Chan Han, questioning what makes her special. He chuckles, telling her she is too young and will understand love eventually. Insisting she is mature, she puffs her cheeks and declares her love for him. He smiles, saying he cares for her too, before checking the hidden system screen. A deadly crisis is brewing, prompting the system to change his current objective. He must attend the banquet, build alliances, and avoid any corrupting influences. The reward promises better protection, but failure halts his entire evaluation. His evaluation would be capped. Reading these bizarre details, he feels totally lost. Initially, the quest was simple, but the new update added relationship building. Now he must establish solid ties with other sects to gain prestige. Since the penalty mentions Chan Han, he realizes she is key to this quest. The banquet starting early forced the system to push the plot back on track. The real climax is definitely the upcoming spar among the young juniors. It is where Yajin will shine, while this villainous simp acts as his stepping stone. But Nukayan can only take this one step at a time under the high, bright moon. As the banquet begins, he returns to the guest seats with Yao Guang, searching for Kayan Hyan. A sudden commotion stirs outside. She has finally appeared. Every young talent turns to look, their conversations freezing instantly. Letting his inner simp run wild, Nukayan quickly stands to guard her side. He greets her with an eager smile, and she simply gives a cold, silent nod. Seeing them walk side by side, the other young cultivators burn with jealousy. Though they believe a fair lady deserves a gentleman, they quickly notice the seating arrangement. The duo sits at the front table, reserved for the 3 sects and 4 holy lands. Whispers spread about the mystic heaven sect disciple and Nukayan, the legendary godly son. They realize the stunning lady in white must be Kayan Hyan, famous as a saintess. Recognizing their status, they drop any foolish thoughts. Nukayan is, after all, the absolute top cultivator of the younger generation. He is the only junior to reach the void refinement stage, a feat known worldwide. Anyone foolish enough to pursue Kayan Hyan would make him a deadly enemy. That would be pure suicide. The crowd falls silent as he showers her with concern. He asks where she went alone and if she was looking for a place to relax. Pressing further, he asks if anyone bothered her, promising to handle them. She simply shakes her head coldly, saying she only found a quiet place to rest. Nukayan forces a tight smile, but deep down, he is incredibly anxious. The recent system update is definitely tied to her, meaning something major has shifted. He wants to ask more, but his system objectives heavily emphasize interpersonal relationships. Carefully, he wonders if bringing up Yajin would fit his simp persona. Showing a bit of jealousy fits his persona perfectly, but before he can speak, someone interrupts. Yao Guang calls out from the side, tugging tightly at his sleeve. Her adorable, pouty face is enough to melt anyone's heart right then and there. She asks why the feast hasn't started, and he quickly reassures her. Right on cue, 3 bells ring out, signaling the start of the grand feast. Finally, Nukayan notices a subtle shift in Kayan Hyan's mood. He asks if she met someone, or if something unexpected had happened. She responds coldly, asking why he cares when he was busy playing with Yao Guang. Talk about a total disaster. His hard-earned simp status is in serious danger. Suddenly, a system warning flashes, warning that his evaluation will drop to a C. He is absolutely numb with frustration, wondering what more he could possibly do. All his efforts seem totally wasted as a sudden commotion erupts. The palace doors swing open as countless delicate petals drift down. An ethereal, stunning woman accompanied by two maids glides through the crowd toward the center. Wearing a light dress with waist-length hair, her flawless features leave everyone breathless. Wrapped in a faint, immortal aura, she looks like a goddess descended to earth. Her otherworldly beauty prevents anyone from harboring even a single impure thought. She possesses a truly transcendent temperament that demands absolute respect. Without a single word, everyone instantly recognizes her as the legendary Yachi Saintess. Under the bright night sky, the grand Yachi feast finally begins. The Yachi Saintess announces that the peaches have ripened, thanking all fellow Taoists for honoring them with their presence. Her voice is ethereal and clear, like a melting heavenly mountain snow, stirring up deep ripples in everyone's hearts. She is presiding over the banquet as the host on behalf of the Holy Mother, asking for forgiveness if there is any impropriety. The guests bow, praising her modesty as the grand banquet officially begins. Delicacies are served under perfect etiquette. Everyone is joyful, enjoying fine wine and delicacies while talking loudly about world affairs. The young talents are especially captivated by the Yachi Saintess. Wishing to show off just to win her glance, our protagonist glances at her from time to time, quite surprised that she is the one presiding today. In the original Destiny, someone else presided while she remained hidden behind a screen. Her showing her face now must be intentional. He feels that she is secretly observing him as well. Yao Guang suddenly pouts and tugs his sleeve, telling him not to get distracted and try this delicious dish. He smiles and agrees, withdrawing his gaze, the Saintess showing up so often. Surely because of him, but he must remain devoted to Kaiyan, so he keeps his distance. Looking at Kaiyan, her expression is cold and indifferent, her chopsticks completely untouched. He asks why his junior sister is not eating, picking up some food. For her, these dishes are made from spirit beasts and Yachi herbs, with no impurities, packed with rich spiritual energy that benefits her cultivation. She nods, thanking her senior brother as she finally picks up her chopsticks. He is surprised she did not refuse. In the past, for such intimate actions like serving her food, Kaiyan would only acknowledge it silently, without accepting the gesture. Could she be trying to protect her senior brother's dignity in public? Suddenly, Yao Guang acts coquettishly, demanding that she wants some food as well. He yields, placing some food for her too, but then Kaiyan speaks out, noting he is too indulgent toward junior sister Yao Guang. She frowns at the girl, hoping that her junior sister knows when to stop and does not cause trouble, adding that their senior brother does not like her pestering. Yao Guang immediately retorts, puffing her cheeks, asking how she could possibly know that. Ignoring Kaiyan, Yao Guang looks up at him. Does senior brother dislike Yao Guang? Talk about a literal death trap question right there. Kaiyan must be appeased on one side, while his cute junior sister waits on the other, supporting Kaiyan. Hurts Yao Guang, potentially damaging their sex reputation, but supporting Yao Guang destroys his devoted persona, risking a total mission failure. From a utilitarian perspective, choosing Kaiyan minimizes losses. However, only children make choices. Wondering if Kaiyan truly cares, he skips the options entirely, grabbing her delicate hand and gazing at her affectionately, saying he did not expect her to care so much. To gain her attention, he is willing to do anything, but Kaiyan pulls her hand back, stating that he has misunderstood her intentions entirely. Seeing Yao Guang pester him only reminded her of his usual pestering, making her feel displeased. He playfully asks if accepting Yao Guang's clinginess will make her jealous. She turns her head away, coolly telling him that he is overthinking things. He simply smiles and gently pats Yao Guang on her head, telling her not to worry. Hearing this, a delighted Yao Guang immediately hugs him tightly. He playfully jokes, the tension breaks, he successfully avoids the deadly question. Saved, he breathes a quiet sigh of relief, but watch the shadows. No one notices the Yachi saint. She smiles faintly behind her veil. The banquet continues as attendants serve divine flat peaches to the guests. The feast reaches its absolute climax. Yao Wang stares curiously at the peach. It is huge, smooth and moist. It radiates rich spiritual energy. She is at peak nascent soul, completely ready for her next breakthrough. Eating this divine peach will increase her success rate by 30%. Wait, this famous tree isn't actually the original ancestral Yachi peach tree. Grown from a branch, it lacks the power for instant immortal ascension. Even so, eating it significantly boosts any cultivator's core cultivation base. She takes a bite. Instantly, the flat peach glows with soft white light. It dissolves into sweet, spiritual liquid that cools her entire throat. She smiles, pure bliss. Meanwhile, Kyan quietly puts his peach away. Yao Wang asks why he isn't eating. He glances back, replying he has one. He tells her to keep hers, but she smiles, having already anticipated his refusal anyway. Instead, she plans to offer this divine fruit to their esteemed sect master. Believe it or not, these peaches only ripen once every 60 years for guests. Since their sect master never attends the feast, she has never received one. It helps win favor, even though it does little for void refinement masters. Besides, their sect master is already a powerful, high-tier Mahayana cultivator. To her, this peach is just ordinary fruit. He tells his junior sister that she is too focused on appearances. Even a small gift has deep meaning. If sent with genuine affection, after all, she is still a woman. As long as the sincere sentiment is conveyed, she will be happy. He is completely confident. Still, he wonders how many more years he can stay here. While there is time to repay her, serving the sect master is his path. Soon, wine flows. The atmosphere turns lively as the younger generation debates. They debate deep Tao mysteries, which quickly turn into intense sparring matches. It is the perfect opportunity to settle old grudges and challenge famous experts. Honestly, who wouldn't want to show off in front of the legendary Yachi saint? An arena is ready. Now, two rivals step up to settle a past draw. They clash fiercely. Sword lights crisscross the sky as they fight. Kyan recognizes Gong Chang from the famous Kiwei Sword Pavilion. Gong Chang mastered their style, but his opponent is the rogue Xiao Goheng. He wields an ancient supreme technique and recently defeated a major expert. Yao Wang watches in awe, asking her senior brother who will win. Kyan glances, instantly seeing through Gong Chang's rigid style. His moves lack flexibility, while Xiao Goheng has formed his own style. He predicts that after 30 rounds, Xiao Goheng will win, sure enough. After exactly 30 rounds, Xiao Goheng unleashes a devastating, divine sword strike. Gong Chang cannot react at all, leaving Yao Wang utterly amazed by the prediction. Her eyes shine. He reassures her that with enough hard work, she will improve. Predicting battles is easy when someone has reached his level of void refinement. With the Guan legacy and Tiangang Big Dipper sword, his path is unmatched. Basic techniques cannot catch his eye. Meanwhile, more young cultivators begin to spar. And Yao Guang keeps begging him to predict the winners. He guesses each match perfectly. Making no mistakes, gradually stronger experts step up and the battles grow more intense. Yao Guang is completely hooked, unable to look away now. He honestly wonders why on earth his junior sister is so obsessed with raw violence. Ever since they returned from the secret realm, she has had this wild passion. For sparring, luckily, he prepared plenty of defensive magic treasures for her protection. Unlike her, he has no interest. The level is too low. Only Yi Jin can pique his curiosity, yet scanning the crowd, he finds no sign of him. He must not have come. As he slips away, Kyan wonders where he is going. She looks utterly puzzled. He claims he is just clearing his head, unable to reveal that he is searching for Yi Jin. Only by finding him can he plan ahead. She watches his departing figure with a deep, thoughtful gaze. He is definitely hiding something from her, or else he would not have left alone. Glancing back toward the main seat, she notices the Yachi saintess has also quietly slipped away. he feels that being sandwiched between Kai and Han and Yao Guang is pure torture. He sighs, honestly fighting some deadly foe to the end feels less exhausting than handling those two junior sisters. Can you really blame him? He slips outside, finding absolute peace and quiet. While youth argue Tao and elders debate world affairs, there is nobody around. In the original plot, this grand banquet was set to happen a year later, right when the Emperor Fall's secret realm was discovered and everyone prepared to open it. Back then, Yi Jin was destined to claim the legacy of the legendary great Emperor Zuer, massively boosting his strength. Now, the banquet has been moved up a year and that secret realm hasn't even appeared. What are those elders discussing? Nobody knows. He has thought about stopping Yi Jin from obtaining that legendary legacy, but having obtained the Kaiyan legacy, he understands the mysteries. Even if he stops him from entering, the Ziwei legacy will likely still find its way to him through some twist of fate. After all, he possesses the purple extreme sacred body and is the Lord of Stars, just as he himself possesses the Tiangong divine body. That purple extreme sacred body is the absolute nemesis of his Tiangong divine body. To beat the fated protagonist, he needs other tricks up his sleeve. And get this. Rumored that the flat peach tree of Yachi was grafted from the ancestral tree using the power of the spring god. How can he confirm this? Suddenly, footsteps approach from ahead. A handmaiden of Yachi walks over. He recognizes her as one of those who serve the Yachi saintess, greeting him warmly as the Xuantian holy son. The saintess is grateful for his presence and has prepared a feast at Beilu Pavilion, inviting him to chat. She wonders if he would attend. It seems the saintess is inviting him. In that case, he cannot refuse. He accepts her invitation immediately.